very afraid because there's so many notes.
It's scary.
Too many notes.
Oh, no. Where's my drink?
Hello and welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera and I'm joined as always by my two Caesarean co-hosts, Katie.
What? It sounded like scissoring.
Caesarean!
Okay.
That's the loyalty program for Little Caesars.
Okay.
Okay. Katie.
Hi.
And Livy.
Hi.
I've never been to a Little Caesars.
And don't start now. They are not a sponsor of this podcast.
Okay.
Podcast. Today we're gonna talk about an incredible episode.
Is
it? Yes, it is.
I'm just kidding.
But before we do, we have some business to take care of, like our schedule.
Oh, okay.
We mentioned this at the end of the previous episode, but we wanted to give you a reminder that we are going to be taking a break after this episode because this episode may kill us.
Yeah, it might. It already did. We didn't even start. I'm dead.
So we are going to be off for the month of July. I believe I have that right.
Yes.
And then we will be back with many happy returns in August. Other note is that we are going to be doing a mailbag before the finale. Yes. So after the episode's Soul Possession, we will be doing a mailbag that will be general questions and general season 6 questions. So if you have any questions you've been dying to ask us, please go ahead, start sending those in. We'll be collecting them and including them in that mailbag. If you really, really want to ask us finale questions, please wait, be patient. We will be doing a separate mailbag only for finale talk.
Yay!
Yay! Hooray!
All right. So should we begin digging into this one?
I think so. Speaking of finales.
Oh, yes?
Some people like to call this one
good transition.
their finale.
But as Rob Tappert says, you're wrong. You had a 22 episode order.
He did say that. I think, though, that it just means putting it at the end. So he's not correct in the sense that there would still be 22 episodes.
But this would just
be at the end.
I'm still confused by it.
Well, it's because Caesar is dead and he fucks things up and does an alternate timeline and resets things. And
so it would reset? Like, wouldn't... I
don't know.
If he,
reporting.
I mean, we'll obviously get into the metaphysical logic of this episode, the, quantum mechanics of it. But, at the end of the episode, when the timeline resets, it's, reset to the canonical Xena timeline. Yeah. So, is that... All right.
Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it doesn't have to be.
I guess
if that's the very last thing
you don't
that you
know.
see, how would you
into
know?
The mist and anything could happen.
Exactly. How would you know what year it was if there was no more episodes after that?
Okay.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
It could be.
All right. I mean, I can definitely see this as a series finale. It is kind of a good idea for ending a show to have, an alt-verse in which your leads still find love.
It's nice.
I wouldn't want that as last episode. But of course, is it really satisfying as a series finale? Because these are the versions of the characers who you know and care about. Agreed. So there is a kind of disconnect that I think would prevent it from being satisfying. Yes. Okay, so I'm against that.
I'm just reporting the facts.
No one fates collide as the series finale.
That's how it's considered by some.
Okay, but not by us. So let's talk about it.
And Whoosh, did we mention?
No, not yet.
So this is our last episode on the best list.
Wow.
That's cool that we're so close to the end of the show and we have super high up on the best.
Yeah.
It's number 4 behind number 1, A Day in the Life, number 2, One Against an Army, number 3, Ides of March, number 4. When Fates Collide.
I like that it's next to Ides.
Yeah,
obviously
they're
twins.
Yeah.
I definitely think it belongs on the 10.
I agree.
The top
it's
10.
Really
it's
good.
Quite excellent.
Yes.
And it's true that this late in a show's run to have just the creative juice to do an episode of this quality
Yeah.
is impressive.
Agreed.
Like,
Well,
this is
we'll
intense.
discuss why, but it has a lot to do with the writing.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we're about to discuss that.
Yeah.
Do you want to leap in?
I do. So we're going to be talking about 618, When Fates Collide, which is when the Fates play football.
They do like a tackle.
Yes.
Okay.
Written by Katherine Fugate and directed by John Fawcett. So John Fawcett is back.
John Fawcett is back. Go see Ginger Snaps. Okay, got it over.
And so Katherine Fugate is a new name and like a crazy secret weapon. Like, what the hell? Who is
Yeah.
this person? What's
Tell
going
us.
on here? I only know certain factoids about her. Like, for instance, she's the niece of Barbara Eden from I Dream
Oh.
of Genies.
So random.
Cool.
And there's an episode of House Hunters International where her family moves to Paris.
Cool.
Wait, what? She's
Yes.
on an episode of House
Yes.
Hunters? I want to watch this.
It's like a Hollywood screenwriter moves her family to Paris. Let's find her a home.
Wow.
Yeah, I
hope
tried
she
to
got
find
a really nice house.
these episodes are available in like Canada and Australia.
Oh.
Oh my God,
But
listeners
not
in
in America.
Canada and Australia, you gotta watch this episode of House Hunters
And tell us
International.
if she chose the right house.
Oh man, so frustrating, that show.
So this woman, Catherine, she also, I mean, she's like a legit writer. Like, she created and executive produced and was the showrunner of Army Wives, which is like a show on Lifetime that lasted like a really long time.
Oh yeah.
I know it as the show that Catherine Bell went to after Jag.
Oh my God.
Gotta get a Jag reference in. And then she was also on like the board of directors for like the WGA. Like, she's legit.
Yeah, she's very well connected,
And so-
powerful screenwriter.
And you're like, how the hell did she get on Xena? What's going on
Yeah,
here?
tell us.
Tell us. Liv.
So I was a little unclear on the context of this, but it seems like there was the threat of a strike, a writer's strike in Hollywood at the time that would have only affected features writers.
That's a little weird, but okay.
I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but basically features writers, and Katherine Fugate at the time was a features writer. She was told by her managers that she needed to go work on a TV show, that would be a safe career choice. She was like, well, I don't really like watch that much TV. Like, the only two shows I could write for are, get this, The X-Files and Xena.
I want to
She
be
is
her
us.
friend. Like, I want to be her friend.
One of us.
Like,
One
cool
of us.
lady.
yeah. Amazing.
So I'm not sure what happened with her trying to write for the X-Files.
Yeah, Chris Carter's like, there are no ladies who write for my show.
Boo. But she was able to get a meeting with RenPix, and this is very untraditional as a way of actually getting to write for a show. Like, even like certainly at this time in the early 2000s, there was this prejudice against kind of crossover between features writing and TV writing. I bet that wouldn't be quite the same anymore.
No.
Since those two
Yeah.
things have
Absolutely
cross-pollinated.
not, yeah.
But at the time, it was seen as weird. So if you were a features writer, it was sort of believed that like you wouldn't know how to write for TV. So she couldn't really get this meeting at first and kind of had to pull strings. And also had to convince them by just like writing a spec script for Xena. And like they were just so impressed that she actually did this, like in a very short span of time. Was like, what? You won't talk to me unless you see that I can write TV? Okay, here's an episode of Xena. Bam. Wrote it for them. They were impressed. And eventually met with her and clicked. And then she got this writing assignment. And she's a bit bummed about it because she wishes she'd done all this a lot sooner so she could have like actually like worked for Xena.
That would be.
Like she kind of gets it right under the wire, which
Yeah.
in a way is every fan's dream to just like right before the show ends, like get yourself on that show, girl.
I mean, she made one of the best episodes.
Yeah,
so good for her.
absolutely.
Yeah. And that she like clearly just has such a close familiarity with the show. She's not like people refer to her as a fan of the show, and she's not like Missy Good where she was like part of the fandom. In fact, it's funny, she talks about it and she like did not know that fandom was a thing, didn't really know like, the text versus subtext like conversations. Like she sort of lives in this alternate universe in which like she watched the show and was like, Xena and Gabrielle are in love. Like not
Amazing.
realizing that there was like, you know,
Yeah.
any kind of controversy about this, any kind of conversation. So she kind of comes into the show with these like very firm romantic ideas about like what Xena the show is. And this is the
Yeah.
episode that she produces, like
Beautiful.
which is wonderful.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Shall we
Let's do
discuss it
Oh
now?
gosh.
All right,
Yeah.
well, you know, this episode just opens up with Xena getting crucified from Destiny, and you're like, oh my god, what
Why
is
are
going
we
on?
here? Why
Yeah.
are we here? But also, like, having just gotten through, like, sending the clones, I was like, oh no.
Another clip show!
Yeah, clip show time again.
No, I felt this one, because, like, when you start with her being crucified, like, on the beach in Destiny with the whole Caesar break her legs quote and all that business.
And Lucy Lawless's brother.
Yep,
getting-
always in there breaking her legs. You're like, well, this is legit. Whatever's gonna go down
Right.
is gonna go down amazingly from now, because like that's like the, you know, most important moment, you know, for Xena besides like her brother. So I
Not
was
to be confused with her brother who's breaking
who's
her
breaking
legs.
her legs. Yes,
Okay.
yes, Lycia's brother. Then suddenly you hear Caesar's voice being like, "Stop it, back it up," and then like the tape moves back, and it's just like, what's going on here? This was really very similar to what happened with Captain Marvel when the Skrulls were like rummaging around in her brain.
Oh.
That's true. They were like,
It was exactly like that.
can we reverse that tape?
Yes, exactly.
It just makes me never want to be stuck in an editing room with Julius Caesar. I think it would be really annoying if he was over your shoulder being like, no, not that shot. No, cut that.
Xena did it first. That's all I have to say.
Oh, Captain Marvel.
Yes.
I was like,
So Caesar rewinds it in Destiny to where Xena's like propositioning him with the tiger and all that.
And the
red dress.
Oh, yeah. Who could forget that
The red
red
dress of seduction.
Yes.
He chooses this to be his like sliding doors moment, where he's like, "Ah, yes, it's mysterious, romantic, good lighting," and kind of like snips the tape basically in the editing room, as you said, Liv.
I was so confused by this because mysterious, romantic, good lighting, that could be like any
Anything.
scene in Xena. And I wasn't sure at first what he had affected. I was like, the actual red dress of seduction scene? Because that seemed like it went fine. Like, what do you need to change there?
I thought it was really interesting because I'm like, calling a shot from a Rob Tapper directed episode.
That's true.
Great lighting, calling all that out. What an amazing job Rob Tapper did in directing.
That's Katherine Fugate sucking up.
Yes, exactly.
I have some questions off the top. What's Caesar doing here? How'd he get here? How'd he get to the Fates? How are they locked up?
Yeah. Well,
Who
he
cares?
put
But
them.
that's my question.
I mean, it's answered.
Yeah.
He slipped out because Hades no longer like controls
Okay.
the underworld.
Good
Because
that-
Xena
that-
killed
yep,
him. He was able to, I don't know, chain up the Fates
Yeah.
easily because they're
Okay.
ladies.
Uh-oh.
Maybe he tried to seduce them all. That is a move. Maybe
Well,
his only move.
I don't know if you're up to it when he's like wearing a bloody robe.
That's true. That is such a great detail
Yes.
that he still has
I
the
love
marks
yeah,
of his...
that's
Yes.
so
Yeah.
cool. And the Fates are still here just because they sort of exist outside.
Yeah,
of,
they weren't.
They were never killed by Xena.
Yeah.
that's true. That's fair.
She left them.
Yeah, they're over here in their house that they live in.
It's like a temple.
Yeah.
It's like people know where this is. It's always so weird. It's like the most important thing, like their loom, like which controls like the whole universe. And like they're just like living in a temple.
Yeah, people can just walk in there anytime
Yeah.
they want and just like pick up a scissors.
Yep.
I do think it's cool that the Fates, have survived the fall of the Olympians because you feel like, in the same way that Ares and Aphrodite, love and war, are still like these sort of big forces in modernity. So is fate in a way. Like this is still
Interesting.
The
something that,
concept.
the concept of fate. People still very much believe in this. It's pretty clear that Katherine Fugate puts a lot of store in it.
Yeah.
So
It's her personal belief.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that they would survive that downfall.
So he decides that this moment where she propositions to like join forces with him and rule together, and originally he chose no and he crucified her, but he's like, here, this is where everything went wrong. So
Say yes this time, Julius. Say yes.
Yeah, so he would be ruling Rome still, and he wouldn't be stabbed by his BFF Brutus, while Xena gets to ride off into the sunset with her girlfriend. Amazing lines.
Again, if you're Katherine Fugate and you don't realize that, like, the show has been doing a thing called subtext, you're just like, this is how we write lines. This is correct.
Well, no one stopped it, so
No,
that's amazing.
it's late season 6, the time of truly giving no fuck.
Yeah,
none.
truly, yeah. So the Fates are like, oh my god, what are you doing? Please stop this. You can't change your destiny.
Big D.
Oh, so much Big D in this one.
Oh, not so much.
Big destiny energy.
Some.
But Caesar asserted he could change it.
I mean, I love that he does a sort of like, snap, flip around and is like, let me tell you something about my destiny. And you're like, Fates, how dare you get him started on this again.
So he takes the scissors and snip, and the Fates are like, ah! They say tampering with the loom will alter the very fabric of life, changing not only Caesar's destiny, but that of countless others.
I liked this special effect when you see the little threads like weaving themselves into a different pattern on the tapestry. I thought that was a cool special effect.
Yeah, I mean, they changed sort of the look of the loom, huh?
Yeah,
around this
like
time.
in a huge
it's
way.
so much better now.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be like actual little threads, and now it's almost...
it's like a ball of yarn before.
Yeah.
They were like constantly coiling.
This to me looks like tape, which I think is cool and like a cool metaphor for the show. This is the fabric of the show.
Yes.
It's made of
deep.
film.
Stories.
Yes.
Remember when he washed his hands in the clip?
Yeah, that was so confusing to me that they have like a little bowl where
Yeah.
you watch the clips.
You watched, yeah.
That's the monitor.
right. It's
Like
the monitor
water
for the
bowl.
loom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how he would know which one it was the right moment.
Yeah.
And then he's
Yes.
just like, oh, and my hands are dirty, I guess.
I also like when Caesar was like, it's ironic, isn't it?
Don't you think?
A little too ironic.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Oh, Lannis.
Oh,
What do you
Lannis.
think?
Well, so this is exactly what Baby Jules wants. He wants to
Baby Jules.
set his new thread into the loom. So we have our new world here where Caesar is a super just ruler. He's concerned about the common folk, because like the first line you hear him, he's like, that grain must be allocated. The people must eat. Like, he's so good.
Super
Sure.
good.
I mean, more concerned than I guess we've seen, him be before. So
It's
like it is
true.
interesting.
I mean, it's true that, like, you wonder how this alliance with Xena has changed him, if maybe it has actually made him a more moderate ruler, not quite my power, my destiny.
I think it has, and the episode sort of says that because the fates are tied up, they cannot maintain the loom, like shit gets crazier because it's like a chain reaction, it's like a
the
snowball effect.
butterfly
Right.
effect, starring
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher.
No. Yeah,
So-
and Xena would have been a more moderate influence.
I think
because
so,
of
yeah.
him not doing the stuff
Yes.
that he did to her, which made her.
Right, and
Yeah.
so she is not a crazy person. She's not Xena the Conqueror, which we've seen.
This is so fascinating. I mean, we're going to be talking about this throughout, but yeah, this is like a whole different iteration of Xena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found it really surprising, like, somehow. It's not what I would have predicted. Like, I think I was still watching her, waiting for her to sort of, be more ambiguous, because she's married to Julius Caesar.
True.
You'd somehow feel like this would,
Yeah.
power would corrupt her. But
It's weird because instead it seemed to have like tamed her, crazy like wiles and
she's
ambitions.
grown up. Yeah, she seems matured, actually.
I mean, they're
in this
still
role.
Rome, so they still go around like conquering, but
Yeah,
like in
but we don't see
in a
any
more
of that.
structured. I think it's a
Yeah.
more structured way than how she, in the real timeline went on to conquer with Bryce and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
It's
a
not
lot-
about bloodthirstiness, it seems to
It's
be.
more about
from-
like literally like ordered conquering.
It reminds me a little bit of like the conversations we had about Welthea and like remember what sort of ruler she would be? She too was all like, I want to do like public works. Like she had
yeah.
this sort of like social good thing that she was interested in. That sort of seems like what Xena's destiny is to do, is to be that sort of leader.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about it, because, I am sort of like, the idea of a timeline in which Xena marries Julius Caesar and is less evil.
Yes.
Immediately sort of breaks your brain a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. Well, anyway, he's standing around with Brutus. You know, they're like talking about the grain, etc. Brutus tells Caesar that Lauma's missionaries have come from Chin. They're here to work out like a peace treaty between the two empires. The visit is super important, so like, let's not fuck anything up, okay?
So this is immediately some interesting world building because Laoma rules her province
Yes.
of Chin,
The richest part of Chin.
which I guess means
She took care of that one guy.
Green Dragon
Yeah.
never like killed her and maybe was never, you know, he too was sort of, he had this horrible childhood thing with Xena. So
Yeah, I remember his 2 days with Xena.
yeah.
Really fucked
Really,
him up.
really,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. So I guess that little guy never grows up to be an asshole.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe hence doesn't get into some kind of power contest with Lama. So she
Yeah.
is still alive and ruling
Yeah.
Chin, apparently.
This is all good.
So Xena's, wow, we forget that Xena like fucked up all of world
She
history.
really
Oh,
did,
real
yeah.
bad.
Real bad. I really wanted her to show up in person.
Lama?
I was like, they're name checking her all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you, Lama?
So Caesar's like, oh, yep, I got it. Thank you so much, buddy. Like, you're my best friend. Love you, Brutus.
And here is where we're first shown that Caesar knows that the timeline is, like, he knows what he did. He's aware of both
He knows
timelines.
what he did, and he has some opinions about Brutus.
Like
that
you said, he
he's
makes a
holding
face.
back. Yes. He's like, my best friend.
Right.
And poor sweet
Brutus.
little Brutus when he's like, my friend. And you see Brutus's face and he's like, he loves me.
Yes.
He called me his friend.
So they're interrupted by the arrival of a lone rider, let's say. It's kind of similar to what happened with Caligula, right? So they're like hanging around.
That's a
and
good
then
point.
an
Yeah.
assassin, quote unquote, like rides in
Rides
black
in.
leather, long hair, gold. And of course, we know that this is Xena.
How do we know that? Could it be
She's
the
doing-
war
yeah, she's doing
cry?
the war cry.
Could it be the extra flipping? I don't know. Mysterious.
She really does a number on all the guards who are just there.
Yeah.
There's some like horse
just for fun.
stunts.
Not the best. I mean,
This
that's
is-
not great.
Yeah,
like,
this is a little annoying for them.
Empress behavior.
She must do this all the time.
Yeah,
and
she's
this is
fun.
like so annoying.
She's good at parties, for sure.
So she like flips off, and you know she has like
The arrows.
the arrows that she's gonna like totally assassinate Caesar. Like Brutus goes for his fucking sword.
Does he
even.
really?
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
It's like what? So two arrows go in, kind of like into the door by their heads, and Xena flips off. Oh my god, it's just normal Xena
Cool
stuff.
horse stunt stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
the
These are
horse
very-
stunt is really cool.
I think the stunts in
stunty.
this episode are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of really great, beautiful
Oh,
stuff.
so good.
Can we talk about the pants yet?
Yes. I mean the whole thing. Let's do it.
Well, she gets off the horse and walks up.
That's true. Let's get her.
And
let's get the helmet
The
off.
visual everyone has is walking up, like lots of confidence. Helmet comes off, hair goes woof, woof.
Extra
around.
woof.
It goes like a woof, but it goes like woof in the hair. What's the sound one hair makes when it whips? I guess it's just
A whoosh.
I
was
would,
it
I
a
would guess a whoosh.
Yeah.
Like the noise all things make.
On this show, yeah.
Yeah, surprise, Xena.
Yes.
It's a great outfit.
I just love that her hair is still that, extra length.
Because
Oh my God, yes.
sort of like 10 years ago timeline, but it's also 10 years later maybe. So it's
But she
I
kept
don't-
it.
yeah, I don't
She
know
kept
what
it
year it
long.
is.
yeah, who knows what year it is.
Yeah.
It's enough time for.
I
don't
think
know.
they've been doing this for a while. Like,
Enough time for Gaps to become a famous playwright.
So,
That
yeah.
seems like it would take a while.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
hot minute.
Yeah.
So she walks up the steps and she's like, "My emperor." And you're like, "What?" And then he's like, "My empress." And you're like,
Whoa.
What? Is she not here to kill him?
I know.
Yes.
What's going to happen?
It's a
So
crazy.
she's
time.
wearing pants.
Pants.
It's-
Talk about this.
It's like, why not earlier?
I know. I can't believe we almost get to the end of the show before she wears pants.
Oh, it's so good. I love all of her LEWKS this episode.
Yes.
So much.
They're all good. Yeah, they're all good. Like,
I
I
would
have
say that-
questions about the bikini one, the bikini top look.
Is this the best outfit
Yes.
she ever wears?
Yes. I know
I'm just gonna
it's
put that out there.
wrong.
Like,
Yes.
it's like a big hypothetical question. Not even hypothetical. We can talk about it and answer it.
We can come to terms with our feelings. I know it's wrong to say that this outfit is better than her actual warrior princess outfit, but it is.
What's on it? Little sigils of some kind? Gold.
Yeah, little gold.
You
I mean,
know,
the gold reminded me of
Versace.
Yes.
Definitely Versace, but also just like that original observation we made about her pirate outfit, which is that it looks like it's made of money. Like this sort of
right.
looks like made of gold bullion, you know,
Oh,
like because
yeah.
she's empress now,
Definitely
but
rich.
she's still wearing her money.
I apologize because I wish that I looked closer into it because I wonder if it incorporates some of Caesar's imagery, which is
I'm
like
sure
the big.
it does.
Because he wears the big lion, which is associated with Caesar in Julius Caesar. I wonder if she took some of that,
Like their little
on-
lions
little
on
lions
those gold,
in the gold.
coins. Yeah.
Because you would think that that would happen, like how in Game of Thrones everybody has their sigil like everywhere.
Yeah. And of course, you know, she's sort of his, you know, she's his property a little bit. I mean, that's sort of how it turns out he treats her.
I don't think it would be his idea. You know what I mean? Like it would be her idea to put it
outfit.
there.
Yeah.
Because they're emperor and empress.
I'm sure it was her idea to wear pants.
Fuck yeah. Jeez.
It was actually Katherine Fugate who wanted the pants. And Lucy thanked her.
Oh my god.
She literally put it in the script. Empress Xena wearing pants.
Oh my goodness. Wow, man. Ugh. Well, again, with Katherine Fugate, I go, why not sooner as well? Like, why couldn't you be ready for this?
Every single thing that's happening in this outfit is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's true.
Like-
it's spectacular, glorious.
I'm looking at a picture of it right now.
Oh,
and it's just like, there's
Xena on
like
the horse. She's like
what-
majestic.
this pattern that goes down the pants.
She's wearing my
It's
favorite
great.
shoes as well.
They're like boots.
yeah, the
amazing
boots that
balls boots.
Lucy can't run in, but they're beautiful.
Like all really attractive boots. You can't run in them.
the crisscrossy like pattern
Yeah.
leather strappy doos like going around. Oh, it's all everything about
Yeah,
it.
it's so high fashion.
But also congrats to Jane Holland for designing an amazing episode of clothes.
Yeah, this is really
Yeah.
finally we can say nice things about Jane
I
Holland.
think we've said nice
we
things
have-
about her
we have.
before, but like this really stands
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
you know?
This episode has so many new costumes, and I
yeah.
think they're all interesting. They all say a lot about the characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think the word that I associate the most with this particular outfit for Xena is confidence. Because
Yeah.
it's so gorgeous and powerful.
She feels very comfortable in it.
Yeah.
Like it is part of her body.
Yeah.
It's natural to her. Mm-hmm. So like this power is natural to her.
Which totally makes sense. She's been queen of the world for like
Yes.
10 years. Or maybe longer. I have no idea. No idea.
So they, Emperor and Empress are walking arm in arm into the palace. Caesar's telling her about like the entertainment he has planned for the evening. Xena gets excited because she's like hoping it's another new wrestler from Thrace.
Yeah.
She loves that WWF, even in this timeline.
E.
But he's like,
WWE.
Oh, right. Good point. Good point.
he's like, nope, it's a play from Athens. And she's like, oh, great, a play.
Old men speaking drivel or something.
Yeah, she is not classy. That did not change.
Yeah, why would it?
I don't know. You would think that she would have to like learn some highfalutin play behavior.
I think she's probably just seen some plays she doesn't like, clearly.
Well, yes, apparently.
I love this next bit, though, because, like, you hear that the Senate is voting on providing new weaponry for her men, and she's really excited to be there for the vote. I feel like this is a nice little glimpse into Xena as a leader and just how involved she is, like, in the regular kind of day-to-day business.
But it
Of
also
ruling.
implies that she is leading the army.
Yeah.
Like she's part of the army.
Yeah.
Like that's good.
And presumably is going up to do some more conquering. So, I mean,
yeah.
you know, this episode has an agenda in that you're supposed to think that Empress Xena is a really good empress, but at the same time, you're like, presumably she is still conquering the peoples of the world, and this ain't great.
Right.
I mean,
it's not
what
good.
if it's like in an orderly way?
Yeah,
No fascism, Vera. No, bad. Fascism bad.
Maybe coin now?
Coin now?
Vera?
Oh, yeah, I read coins.
Right before the end of the podcast, Vera is going to become very problematic.
Half of these coins are for me. Caesar sends Brutus to accompany Xena to the Senate and the vote.
And it's totally just to get rid of Brutus because he's about to do something that he knows his boyfriend Brutus would not approve of.
No, yes, because he wants some alone time with Lauma's peace officers here.
Peace officers.
They bring like a
I love
treaty.
this moment when the emissaries come out and Xena does this like awkward bow to them.
Oh my god, I loved it.
And you have this sort of like, oh man, she never met Lao Ma moment. She's never been to Chin.
Yeah. Lauma taught her some manners, right? Remember?
Yeah, it was just she tried. Hashtag she tried.
So they bring this peace offering straight from Lauma's hand, and Caesar's like, you guys can shove it, okay? Let me introduce you to Alti, the high priestess of Rome.
Okay.
So
What's
here comes Alti. So now because Xena never got fucked up by Caesar, she never went to fuck up the Amazons. So Alti somehow went from there to Rome.
I think this makes sense.
And so powerful, and
she's looking for the destroyer of nations. If it's not Xena, then obviously it's Caesar.
But she was already hanging out with the northern Amazons. Like, she was like their shaman.
Yes.
And so.
But she was
like,
clearly looking for that like great leader figure to influence.
Okay, but also somehow it didn't fuck up her voice.
No.
That's a good question.
She didn't smoke so much while dealing with Xena.
No.
She's not the old hag.
Yeah.
Bag of bones, Alti.
Oh, you still see her bones in this one.
That's true. You see her bones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's fantastic here.
This is a great costume that she has.
It's like, she wears so much scantily clad stuff that is very nice. Sometimes she wears like outfits, like later on especially, like the leopard print that look like she was straight out of like the Lifeblood episode.
Isn't there something behind that?
Yeah, Sticks and Stones, right?
Yeah,
there was going to be, supposedly, this episode in season 6 that was going to be set in caveman times.
Why?
Prehistoric Alti.
Yeah. What?
I don't
She's
know.
that old?
No, I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past her.
But yeah, I was wondering if this was like a costume they made for it, and then we're like...
And they're like, let's reuse!
I don't think they ever got as far as making costumes for it. But it is odd that she looks like, she's doing her Pebbles cosplay.
Isn't there like a really great... Isn't there a really great quote from Claire Stansfield where she was like, I forget who was like, Lucy has always been trying to get her clothes off, and finally she's like, yes, with this or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, Alti, unlike most female characters on this show, wears a lot of clothes.
Because she's an old hag. Now they're like, ooh, she's sexy.
And also, she's not hunching over, so you finally see how tall she is.
Yes.
Very
tall. Very formidable. Amazing. I love her here. Yeah. I sort of wish we could see her more, like, she's high priestess of Rome. Like, I wanted to see her do high priestess shit.
That's
like
true.
Roman high priestess
like offering
shit.
sacrifices to the gods.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I really want to see that.
There's so many episodes this could be. Mm-hmm. Just this huge world building craziness.
Yeah, that's why it's so good.
Facts.
So she, reintroduces her powers to us yet again.
This was when I realized that Send in the Clones didn't really use her powers correctly. I feel like we never got this moment where she actually hurts people with their past and or future.
Really? But we saw it in the clips, right?
Well, she's like, remember season 3? But she doesn't drag Gabs with the Gab drag.
No, but we saw it in the clips, like what she could do.
I think Send in the Clones was bad.
It was real bad.
Literally forgot how Alti works.
Oh my god. Well,
but beautiful Katherine Fugate has not forgotten.
No, she reminds us like twice.
Well, I actually love her decision just in general general to use Alti in this episode.
Yes.
It's really unexpected because, we've just set up that Caesar's the bad guy.
Right.
And of all the people to suddenly show up, like, in this milieu, Alti?
Well, didn't Katherine Fugate get a choice of villains for this?
Yes, I think Rob offered her choice. And
what a plethora
she
of power.
She loves Alti best.
I would choose Alti too.
I mean, Alti's so much fun.
What was
Yeah.
the list? I want to see the list.
Yeah, that's
I know.
true. It's very curious that she could have had
Yeah.
her pick. And does that mean that they thought that anybody would be available to them?
Yes.
But then also, like,
Maybe the choices were like Ares,
Oh,
Alti,
God.
other
Good-
people
good
who they were
thing she
getting
didn't
for
do
other
that.
episodes.
this one makes sense. Like, I like
Yeah.
that she would be here following the power.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And as Katherine Fugate said, that part of what motivated her choice is that she felt that Alti, as this shamaness, has the power to kind of see between worlds.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
she would be helpful in this kind of
Yeah.
alternate universe.
Totally.
All right.
Logical.
So she definitely kills the Chinese emissaries via footage from those episodes.
Purity is back in the bottle.
yes.
Which, to be fair, if you showed me footage from those episodes, I too would
Can
die.
you put a coin in for this? It is not great.
Yeah, so she kills them. And then Caesar says, "Oh, Xena's right. You are ambitious."
I was confused by that. So does that mean that Xena
I think Xena's warned
has
him
warned him about
her,
Alti?
yeah.
Xena does not trust Alti.
She's like, that girl wears no clothes. I do not trust her.
Oh, ladies gotta trust each other. I do think, though, it's interesting to have, we often talk about Rome as, the ultimate manifestation of the patriarchy on this show. And here suddenly of Alti kind of infiltrating the patriarchy. I like that we have both Xena and Alti, these two outsiders, these two powerful women who are kind of coming into Rome and making it, like, work for them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
It's time for the theater.
Okay.
We're going to the theater.
So, what do we think of A Fallen Angel by Gabrielle, the visionary voice of Athens?
It seems like a really silly play.
I thought the acting was really terrible. Like, that guy
That's
was
not Gabrielle's
real
fault.
bad.
Yeah.
Why did she cast him?
Yeah, she maybe didn't have a lot of choice. Maybe there aren't a lot of good actors in Athens.
So, okay, I love this whole theater situation because it's like you have the stage, the actors are on it, then you have like the audience on the bottom. Like Alti is like on the ground floor.
Yeah, and the
like,
regular people
Yeah.
in the peanut gallery, so to speak.
She's kind of like confused by this play. Like she's always like giving you like, what a dog does, like when they tilt their head.
I think it's really funny that Alti has to go to the theater.
I know.
Of all the things to ever see Alti doing, going to the theater, it just wouldn't occur to you.
Do you think she was like forced to? Or
I
do you
think
think she was
so.
like, I better do it because everyone's going to be there?
To keep an eye on Caesar? There's probably a little bit of both. You got to keep up appearances and you want to know what's going on.
But then you have the royal box, right? So you have Xena and you have Caesar. And you think, because she only loves wrestling and like, low bar activities, Xena would be the one who's sleepy.
I mean, this is amazing because you know that Xena of our world, our timeline, would be so bored in the theater.
Even Gabrielle's plays.
Would absolutely not really enjoy it.
Aw.
But this Xena does.
She's riveted.
But is that because it's part of her lived experience in another timeline that
Yes.
is being tapped into?
Yes, that's a big part of it.
Due to it being the episode of Xena where a princess fallen angel?
What a choice.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about
It's
this.
Fallen Angel. And I even love they have the set is the tomb that they sit on for
Right.
that scene in Fallen Angel. Like they've
Yeah.
literally recreated
This
that
is the
one
choice.
scene from Fallen
Yeah.
Angel.
Catherine had to pick a scene, and this is
Yeah.
what she picked. And the dialogue that we hear is, ready? Now I don't have it exactly in front of me, but it's just like one of those, we're going to be together
For
Yes.
eternity.
for eternity or whatever. And then the other character in this play goes, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And as we all recall from actual episode, it's we're going to be together for eternity, what have you. And the response is, yeah. which I think is much better than this play.
It is ironic, isn't it?
God.
No, but it is, because I remember us talking about that scene in Fallen Angel, and we talked about it as a moment of ambivalence.
Yep.
You know, that it's Xena and Gabs trapped in this kind of cosmic cycle. And feeling sort of confused by it.
Yeah, I think they should feel confused.
Yeah, it's fun to have it kind of recontextualized as a great moment of romance,
right?
That then gets through to Xena in this other world in which seemingly she's not trapped with Gabs in that cosmic cycle. So yeah, I really liked the way that was done. And just, the choice of all great Xena moments, Fallen Angel, is somehow unexpected.
But it makes sense because it's a Fallen Angel as a result of Ides of March, which is so
That's
part of
a
this
really
episode.
good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like ingrained in the structure of this episode.
I didn't think about it from that angle, but you're absolutely right that, in a way, everything can be traced back to Ides.
Yep. Well, okay, Xena's just like literally at the edge of her seat. That's how much she's like into it. Caesar's yawning. He's like, oh my God, this is so boring and stupid. And, clap, clap, clap. It's over. Brava, brava. We have the playwright on stage. Everyone's like throwing flowers. Xena throws her rose. That's good.
This was such a tipping the velvet.
It really was.
This is when I'm done. I've lost my damn mind. It's over. I should leave.
Do we need to?
Everyone's seen Tipping the Velvet, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, do we need to pimp this?
We do.
Should, yes.
Tipping the Velvet is an amazing book written by Sarah Waters, who's an amazing lesbian author. I love her to pieces. Tipping the Velvet was her first novel that was published, I believe, unless I'm wrong, but I believe that's true.
I think you're right.
And it's super good. Everybody go read it. It's about like Victorian times, queer women in Victorian times. Awesome. And it was made into a miniseries on BBC Two, I believe, in probably around now.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
true.
Xena...
Like early 2000s, probably.
And starring Rachel Sterling and Keely Hawes and, now I forget her name. Jodie May. Who's great. Jodie May. And it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, there is the main character, is character Nan, played by Rachel Sterling, and she goes to the theater in a similar situation like this, and Keely Hawes is a performer.
She's like vaudeville.
Vaudeville performer on stage. And there's this whole thing where her character, Kitty, has a rose and will throw it into the audience. It's very romantic, and it becomes a big part of the whole story. And it's this is a very long description to just be like, this reminds us of that.
It's exactly like that.
But of course,
Did Xena do it first?
Vibes.
Yeah, it's very
it's like
vibes.
queer love coding. You know, to have like the throwing of a rose like in this very public setting, which is like a way for these two women to like declare their love. It's I definitely was like had such serious Tipping the Velvet vibes from this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Let's talk about outfits.
Yes. Let's
So,
do it.
What do we think of writer Gabs's opening night wear?
It's fine. She's wearing a dress.
This is not my favorite
hair
look.
is
her
curly,
hair is
long, and
terrible.
crazy.
I don't like how Gabrielle looks, but I get it. She looks very like Grecian, like Athenian.
Yeah,
woman.
she's probably playing up.
Yeah.
Kind of her.
But, like,
her Grecian.
Xena's Roman looks work for her very well.
Yes,
but
very
like it's
flattering.
weird that it doesn't work for Gabs as much.
I actually think the decision to make famous writer Gabs like not a snappy dresser like kind of works with the character. You know, she lives in her vineyard.
Yeah.
She doesn't get out much.
But you don't know. Maybe that fashion is like super on point. Like I don't know what's going
That's
on
true.
in like Athens Fashion Week.
But I feel like to me she looks very sort of dressed up. You know, like there's a
you would
there's
be.
a
You're meeting
stiffness
the
to it.
fucking emperor and
Yeah.
empress of Rome
Yeah.
are there. Like
Right.
you would wear your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
So-
love this, like, kind of, this almost looked 1920s to me, Xena's outfit, like, with the gold
God.
fringe. Like, this is, like, Empress
Oh, yeah.
Flapper.
Empress Flapper.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah. So Katie,
Oh,
go ahead.
I don't want to derail the conversation. I might end up doing that a bunch throughout.
Do it.
Well,
That's
I just
why
want
we're
to talk
here.
about we haven't really talked about it yet.
Yeah.
What?
Let's
What-
talk
what
about
are we
it.
talking
This is
about?
a
The
alternate,
faces made.
The faces made.
Oh.
The faces.
Yes.
Oh,
I just
I'm
assumed
sorry.
you wanted to talk
Shit.
about faces.
No. Oh, well, Xena's face. Looking at Gabs, like, you know, you feel in her face that you know that she recognizes this person. Just know why, right?
Yeah.
And she's very intrigued, and there's lots of intrigue happening in the face, and there's like an eyebrow raise that's good. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's good.
And Gabs' face?
She doesn't know this lady.
But I feel like when she looks
She
at
does
her...
look up at her and goes like, there
and
is a
she's
moment.
struck.
And Caesar notices
there
this.
is-
He
yes.
notices.
Oh, there's a lot of cutting back and forth
Oh,
with Alti
God.
in the audience.
Right,
Also
Alti-
being like,
Yeah, she
cuts
does her
back to Alti like
head
3
tilt.
times.
Yeah.
I feel like
trying to
Alti's
figure it out.
gaydar
no.
is going on.
There's an absolute...
Yeah, Auntie's gaydar is going out, and Caesar is
It
having
is.
like a red alert moment because like the hard eyes emojis that are happening. Is like, he's like, this is not
and he
good.
didn't know that
This is where I'm like, why would he not?
he
know?
didn't know. He doesn't, as we were kind of discussing the other day, like, he doesn't do the booking.
Oh right.
He was
yes.
just like, I want to see a
getting
play.
the troupe from Athens. How does he know the person who wrote the play? Like,
Well,
that's
it sounds
not usually
like
on the
it
top
sounds
of
like
the
they've
marquee.
had, but they've had plays before. Like it
Yeah.
sounds like it's always the men with the like Euripides and all that
And
business.
he wouldn't
every
know
other
this about
every other
Gabrielle.
graduate of the Athens Academy.
Do you think I have questions about the Athens Academy because clearly she's a graduate, right?
Yes.
She still got to go to the Athens
Yes.
Academy, so that makes me really happy. So I assume she like went there, you know, to be like a performing bard, but then like decided to be a playwright, maybe like Euripides. She saw Euripides doing his plays and was like, I can do that better than him.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's exactly playwright Gabrielle's origin story.
I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's something that is not addressed in this episode, like how she kind of ended up
Doing that.
where she did.
She got out of Potidia.
Got out of Potidia.
Even without Xena coming through
presumably
town.
not married to Perdiccas.
Presumably
No.
not. No
However,
bird.
there was
Yeah.
a lot of talk between Rob and Katherine Fugate about whether, like, there were drafts where Gabrielle had a family.
Yeah.
So it isn't, but they were like, she would never leave them or whatever.
What, to go on the road with her play?
I
She can't have a
guess.
career and a family? What the fuck?
Is that what they meant?
I think they meant more like
Blowing up the loom at the end.
the loop.
Oh, we'll get there. Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of thing, you know, where maybe she wouldn't destroy her children.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's a little bit like what is that episode of Black Mirror? San Junipero?
Junipero. Do you need more blues?
Yes, San Junipero. Where also it ends with a choice that I don't even know if I agree with technically.
Oh.
So I always had a problem with that episode.
Wow.
So
That's
this would be.
interesting.
So I think it would be very similar if Gabs had a family. Like I don't know how you would feel. if
It
she
definitely would be a more
burnt them up.
complicated
Yeah.
scenario.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
About San Junipero. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I like that she's kind of just on her own.
Yeah,
I
and
think that was the
presumably
right choice.
at a certain point she was like, "I'm going to buy a vineyard.
Yeah.
I want some Gabs wine."
Oh my God. Is it like Picard wine?
Yeah, I hope so.
And then, but that also was not what I was going to say.
Uh-oh,
All
yeah.
this whole stuff.
Yeah, we got really distracted. You didn't want to talk about faces at
No,
all.
but I did. I always... I always want to talk about faces. Like, can I just blanket... Okay, let's just blanket statement for this whole episode that obviously we love these actors and they're all fantastic, but I don't know what is happening in this episode. They're fucking unbelievable. Like, amazing. Everything between everybody, but like Lucy and Renee are so good in this.
Yeah.
Like, and they're always good, but I'm just you know what I mean? Like, so can I just like blanket statement? Every face is amazing. Every cute thing is amazing.
I think this episode like inspired
Oh,
that,
I was
like
gonna say that.
reinvigorated
Yeah,
them,
exactly. It
because
was
it's
such a
different and they
good-
get to play
yeah.
like whatever is.
And it's so
Yeah.
close to the end. They're both such professionals. They want to give it their all. To be given this great material so close to the end of the run,
Yeah.
I think it's just sort of like, you know, the stars aligned.
Yeah.
Like they really brought it.
Yeah. But no, I wanted to talk about alternate reality
Oh, that's true.
episodes.
Sure, great.
And firstly, that I feel like it's, you know, must be mentioned that everyone participating in Xena fandom at the time would have read a bajillion stories with alternate timelines at this point. This isn't quite, I wouldn't call it like an Uber episode, because they are still like Xena and Gabrielle, like with their names. Like I feel like it's more of a thing where they're, if you're writing an alternate kind of AU for Xena fandom at the time, like a majority of it was
Everything's
like people had
different,
different names, like everything was, but they're still like the
Janus.
same character, exactly, like Xena Scrolls. But it's still, and then also like, you know, this is clearly a different reality than the Armageddon-y, Hercules-y things that created like the Conqueror fic, but that's, I feel like needs must be said that there's a huge like fanfic thing going on where you have like Roman Conqueror Xena and
Gabs
Gabs
coming into that.
being a thing. So it's cool that this kind of was created and written independent of all that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it shows what great ideas those fics were, that Katherine Fugate sort of is on that wavelength without knowing about the fan works themselves.
yeah.
This is obviously a much nicer version than like most of those, which are like kind of dark or could get very dark.
Oh yeah.
But then also just like alternate realities in general. Like I love this trope. This is a trope, obviously. Trope is not a bad word. It's just a thing that happens in storytelling. So when I say trope, I don't mean it's bad. And I love it. I love this kind of stuff. And I feel like maybe some people are like, well, I don't get, like, well, what does it mean for this or that? But like, who cares?
They're like a fanfic, but part of your show. It gives you the chance to explore like the sliding doors moment. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
sliding
mean?
doors, like, I mean, and that's an example of kind of like...
That's a great episode of Kimmy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a great
Had it
episode.
great. And this is
alternate
very-
reality type of episode.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, like, what would happen to these characters if they, like, didn't do, like, this or that thing.
And that's such a part of fandom, is kind of writing the meta about that, like examining the choices and kind of, you know, fix-its, which basically is a version of this. Like Caesar is writing a fix-it for himself.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, why people like to move it to the end of season 6 sometimes. But yeah, I like an alternate timeline or an alternate reality, and I don't mind if it's confusing. I don't think this is confusing that much.
think it's that
I think
confusing.
people get to the end of it,
Right.
and you're like, what? But it doesn't really matter.
And I think it is a really cool way of just kind of exploring different sides of the characters. Like we've kind of said about Xena, like seeing a Xena who never gets that betrayal, you know, who never kind of goes off on her path of destruction and then hence doesn't need to go on a redemption quest. This Xena who just has a completely different life. And you know, there are still, like, you see glimpses of that person in her anyway, but at the same time she's different in a way that I just find really fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't Mother of Peace Xena, but at the same time,
God.
this isn't Warrior Princess either. Like, I do
Right.
think it's interesting that this character, to me, even though she's, like, really badass at fighting, you feel like violence isn't as part of her makeup as the Xena we know, and that's fascinating to
She
me.
literally enters the courtyard every day by beating up some guards.
but in a fun way.
funny to her.
No, there's so many moments like with Xena of, we'll get it, where it's just like this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, right?
Yeah.
So you have Caesar's betrayal and like this very violent like bodily harm that he does to her that then leads to more death, like, you know, in that moment when she kind of decides to be crazy dark Xena or whatever you want to call it. Like still Xena, but
we do not call
Xena
it
having made a really bad choice.
yeah,
The
but like
E
what also
word.
like based on like Malila getting killed in front of her and
sort
stuff,
of nihilist Xena.
very nihilistic, so that stuff like didn't happen. So it's super fascinating and cool. And like is it like, you know, to use it for, this isn't really like the darkest timeline. It's just like an interesting timeline.
Yeah, I like that it's not like dystopian
community.
Exactly. Like I like that, you know, obviously there are bad things about this. Like in a way they're kind of all being swept under the rug. Like you know Caesar's doing some bad shit, but like, you know, he's keeping it away from Xena, I think.
Right.
I
So
think he's only
have
starting to do really bad stuff.
I tend to think this dude's been doing bad shit the whole time.
No, put some pins in it. We'll talk about that a little later, just
Okay.
because it is worth mentioning. Because there are very, like, once in a while, this episode has very specific lines that I'm like, these lines are here to give you some kind of impression about something because you cannot tell otherwise.
Yeah, which is good writing because this,
Well, I don't know,
this
sometimes.
episode has to create a whole world, and you know it only has 40-something minutes. It's pretty impressive how much characterization it gets done. One more thought: I do find it interesting that Xena in our timeline. I mean, she's romantic, but she's such a pragmatist that that aspect of her personality is not really put to the forefront. That kind of yearning that's usually more of like a Gabs thing.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see Empress Xena, who's just like such an unabashed romantic.
Yeah.
The fact that she really loves that play and goes up to Gabs wanting to talk about romance is just
my
like so
God.
not a Xena trait normally.
I feel like you can see where and why that would be based on the fork that her life took, where she didn't meet like 3 different women.
That 3 different important women to her.
Didn't make her
Though
away.
what happened to Malila? Well, that's
She's dead.
but
What?
not in
Oh,
this
in this
timeline.
one. Oh, in this timeline. Yeah, I don't know.
What happened to her?
I don't know. I hope good things only.
Good things only.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I guess
presumably everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if everyone.
She didn't learn the pinch, huh?
but
she didn't learn the pinch. She doesn't
learn
have
the
the
pinch.
chakram. A lot
just
of
everything.
things that make Xena are not present here. Yeah.
And also, Caesar didn't take her on enough dates, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
their relation. Well,
we'll
how
get
long was
into
she
it.
even like? Did she leave home a lot? She was gone and
She
came
goes
back
off
for
like
a
to war all the
while
time
anyway.
to conquer.
But like
the
also to your point,
armies.
like I feel like this like world, like Vera, like you were saying, like it doesn't seem that awful. Even, but like it is
This is
because
a
like we
pin.
have to talk about like imperialism. And all. We can
We'll talk
yeah,
about
it's
it,
not.
yeah.
It's no. We'll bring it up
Yes,
later. But it's
for sure,
no-
for sure. Let's talk about the post-play mingling that's going on, where everyone's like, meet the artists, meet the actors, etc.
The talk back.
Yeah. So why does Caesar allow Xena to even speak to Gabrielle?
would
Because
probably
he
be-
already has like the red alerts happening.
It would be hard for him to prevent it.
I don't know. He could make an
He could
excuse.
have tried, I
you
guess.
know,
to
he could try.
Be like, Xena, you're needed in the
Yes,
forum
yes.
with the
Yeah, but instead he's like standing across the room watching Xena talk to Gabs, and Alti comes over and she like, I like how she hovers, you know, behind him like the, you know, the devilly shoulder thing, and she's like, ooh, what you think those gal pals are talking about? Horse riding, sword play.
Yeah.
eyebrow.
Yes.
Alti.
The gaydar is ringing
know.
so loud.
So, I mean, what they're really talking about is Gabs' artistic process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you get your ideas, Gabs?
I
and
love this.
Gabs, unlike every other writer, loves this question and would like to talk about it at length. That's weird. She really does live on a vineyard.
Well, number one, obviously she says this thing. She's like, "Oh, they just come from somewhere else," which obviously we know is like this tie to.
But I thought her
Was
response
it?
was a little bit pretentious and
No,
very specific
it kind
to Gabs.
of is because you know.
pretentious.
Do you absolutely? I will tell you 100% who she is basically quoting is David Lynch.
No.
I like almost
Does Gabs
word
practice
for word.
transcendental meditation?
I don't know.
Is that how she's able
But
to
it's
see
like-
things from the other
I
timeline?
Maybe.
love David Lynch, and like I actually like don't want to even like mock transcendental meditation because like it certainly helps him, and he has a whole crazy cool foundation and all that stuff. I don't care for it costing thousands of dollars. So I don't know what that's about. But anyway, like I sort of love this idea, like that. There's like a weird David Lynch connection with Gabs here, where like just this idea that like I forget the exact quote. I should have like looked it up, but like this idea that he like just picks these ideas that like are like kind of floating in this other space, and they just like come to him, and probably because of like meditation and stuff. But like to your point, it's a little pretentious, yeah.
But at the same time, that is, you know, I love this idea that actually, you know, we've been talking as if Alti is the one person who has access to the other world, but Gabs does too.
Yeah, Gabs does
like,
too, in this way.
Through her sort of creativity, she has access to this other plane of existence, which, I think is a Lynchian idea. Yeah.
And
but
like,
I mean, like,
maybe
you could
legit, because what do we know?
That's true, but I mean, like you could dream things, and they're like ideas.
Yeah,
like, that's
absolutely.
not. Is that the same thing?
Yeah,
Kinda, yeah.
It is.
Wow.
Read Catching the Big Fish. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. His
Yeah,
book.
it's so good.
So Gabs tells Xena that, well, she compliments her on being like this amazing empress, and she says that Rome is thriving and that the army loves Xena as their commander. So, I mean, she doesn't think it's like a horrific world and there's genocide.
But also, she is this Athenian, you know,
guest.
not only guest, but like presumably Rome has conquered Greece. Like, so Gaz is like this vassal.
But she lives comfortably in her vineyard.
Yeah, she's doing fine. But like, if you're going to meet the big boss, you're gonna tell the big boss they're doing a great job.
All right.
I mean, I'm sure to a certain extent it's true. Xena's doing your best, but I'm just saying, okay.
Meanwhile, Brutus has kind of like taken Caesar to the side, and he's like, "What the fuck did you do? And you killed all those emissaries? What the hell? What's that all about?"
Why did he kill them?
Because he wants to conquer China.
Yeah, but the emissaries were
They brought
standing in his way
peace.
of
They
that?
brought peace.
I see. So he doesn't want to make
Wasn't
peace
it
with
like
Lama.
Alti's idea?
It seemed
or
like
something?
Alti was
Or, like-
definitely a part of that, as she did the murdering. Yeah.
I think
Like,
this is
yeah,
part
like,
of the
he didn't
Loom
ask her to
going
do that.
crazy.
No, I
like
don't-
this is like the.
Oh, I think he did.
Oh, he did?
I
Okay,
think so.
I can't.
Yeah.
I think it's Caesar's idea to
Yeah.
conquer China.
You think
okay?
this is the Loom going
I
crazy?
think this is an example of the Loom starting to
Mm.
unravel because he wants to do a crazy thing. Like he wants to do a thing that presumably they weren't ever planning to do.
Mm.
They were going to be peaceful together, allies and whatnot. But he's like, you know what? Let's conquer like Lao Ma's territory, the richest part of China.
He wants to
But do you think
conquer
if
the
Caesar ever
world.
became
Yes,
like
so that's like a
That's
crazy
always
thing.
been his
emperor like this?
what he wanted. That's his big D destiny.
But it seems extra now. Like it's a little bit unruly.
I don't like your Caesar apologism, Vera. Caesar is bad. Caesar in power is bad.
I like this alternate reality where his like power is checked. It was being like
Checked by Xena.
yes, like it makes it seem like things were orderly at least. Like right now he's starting to be chaotic. Listen,
You mean like Loom
yes,
okay-ish?
like jumping to conquer Chin is bad.
Yeah.
Like does not belong there.
Only
like,
conquer surrounding areas. Don't
I don't
continue
know.
walking further.
They wanted peace. I don't know. He did a bad. Anyway, he was like, Alti knew about this, and she advised it. And you know what? Brutus is like, Lama was going to send assassins. And Caesar's like, don't worry, Brutus. I know how to deal with assassins.
And Brutus is like really confused by why Caesar is saying this with such a like grrr face. It's really nice that David Franklin came back just to do this. It's
Because
great.
he's Brutus, like the real Brutus.
Yeah,
Like,
he's-
that's it.
And it is funny then that you see previous Brutus in some of the clips, and you're like, LOL,
Oh
other,
my God.
other Brutus.
Stupid fake Brutuses.
Oh.
This is legit. So meanwhile, Xena's like still processing the play. She's talking to Gabs about the third act and how the hero threw himself over the cliff
Oh my god.
with no fear of dying.
Because
All
he's
for-
already dead. They're in heaven. Why?
That's true.
Maybe
I guess a
Xena,
couple-
Xena needs to watch the play again.
I just like that she's like, all for her.
Yeah.
She asks if Gabs really believes in that kind of love. And Gabs pulls out Mulder's poster and she's like, I want to believe.
They're So extra.
She says it's what we all dream about, isn't it? Someone who looks so deeply into our soul that they find something worth dying for. And this is with very intense eye sex happening,
extra.
as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And
so much close-ups, too.
I think this is the only time in the episode that the word soul is said.
Oh,
which
interesting.
I like, because, I mean, the idea of soulmates kind of hovers over this concept, because these two characters are finding each other despite, you know, the entire world being set up in a different way. I kind of like that. I mean, previously we had soulmates being said all over the place in the Rheingold trilogy.
Oh, right.
It's kind of nice to have an episode that is about soulmates without using the word.
Caesar busts in on this because he's like, must stop the lesbifying. He's like, the play was riveting.
Oh, yikes.
And then it's Xena's bedtime. Okay, bye. Okay, now we're in their bedchamber. This is some good stuff.
Yes, it is.
It's very good because she's braiding her hair for sleeps. That's
love it.
very good.
This is my favorite look of the episode for her. I
Xena's
love
side braid,
I just love the
nighttime
side braid
stuff.
with the little night. I don't know what to call this robe. At first, I thought both her and Gaz were literally just sort of wearing like sheets kind of wrapped around them. But
I think
Xena's
Gab's
is an
is.
actual sleepwear.
I think
Gab's is wearing
Gab
a
sleeps
sheet.
in the nude. That's
Yes.
what's happening there.
Absolutely.
So Caesar like slinks up behind her and he whispers like, so
Hey, baby.
what you and that playwright I definitely don't know talk about.
Her life, her work, her lesbianism.
She interests
She
me.
interests me.
Caesar tries to get her into in the mood, basically, like a little kiss on the shoulder. Let's start the sexy time. But Xena's like, hard pass.
And he says, it's been a long time.
And she says it's been a long day. And I hate that line.
Do you want to just chalk it up to like she's been away for like a while?
Yeah,
Or-
I think that's
I don't
part
think
of
so.
it.
Do you think that there's
You think
more
they just
to
don't,
it?
They don't sleep together.
I think
not a thing they do
it's like
anymore.
to preserve. It's some kind of line that implies to me that yes, they do not have sex. So don't worry, guys. It's not like she's having sex with Caesar all the time.
Is the idea that they don't have any children tied into the world destroy? I mean, Xena doesn't obviously destroy the world, and then
a
like
good
Caesar
point.
kills
That's
her.
actually really,
But
you're
I
right.
feel
In a
like
way,
they
it's a plot hole.
would have
Caesar would
children.
need to have children
Yeah.
for his. I mean, that's so much a part of the
Yeah.
the Julian dynasty.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
like I
Right.
think they would have like several kids.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. I wasn't thinking about that, but I just was thinking that it was like implying that having sex with Caesar is bad, even though they're fucking married, like, and they're emperor and empress forever, like.
Well, she's not in the
clearly.
mood
but
right
that's
now.
but that's the thing that it implies that they have a bad sex life. So like, it's
Yeah.
cool for her to be like in love with Gabs. Why not both? Like,
Why not
she's
both?
fucking Caesar. He's her husband. It seems fine. Then she meets Gabs, and she's like, oh, never mind.
she doesn't
This
have-
is my
Well,
soulmate.
I think
feelings for him that- yeah,
and they want her and Gabs to sort of recognize like kind of a shared sadness, which is that Xena by this point has realized that, you know, despite being attracted to Caesar and his big D back in the day on
Right.
that pirate ship, that wasn't going to become a lasting relationship. That, you know,
Okay, but she could be still having sex with him.
Sure.
So you just want Xena to
Yeah.
be getting some. Is what you're saying. You don't actually care about whether or not she loves this man.
I think it implies that her love for Gabs is even extra if she is kind of like, you know, having like a whatever relationship with Caesar still.
I think it's
know.
interesting that, like, you know, young Xena was so hungry for power. Like, that was the only thing she got hot for, was
Right.
power. And the fact that when she marries power, she finds it unsatisfying.
Right.
I think is
Good.
so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that says a lot about her. Like, in the end, power didn't matter to her. Like, we finally get to see that.
Well, it's that thing of like, if you're a billionaire but you don't have love, you don't have anything. You know that
that's
thing.
sad.
Jeff
You're like-
Bezos.
Oh my god. But yeah, I do like, and you know, we're about to see with the balcony scene that like there is a certain, you know, similarity in the two characters, that neither of them has that companionship, and they both like feel that loss.
Okay, so he's like, well, okay, I'm not needed here, so I'm gonna go do some other penetrating.
With Brutus.
Yes.
Yay! Brutus and Caesar have quote unquote business.
Xena goes to the balcony and look right there,
Oh,
the
man.
neighboring balcony.
What prime real estate?
Yeah.
What light through yonder window breaks?
Yeah,
Aw.
so romantic.
It's weird because, like, to me, I was like, it's that song. It's not really, but I kept hearing them sing that song from An American Tale. The, like, somewhere out. Even though they're, like, right there.
Yeah. It's nice.
But yeah, it's just the universal symbol of like
Yeah.
longing
And connection.
Yeah. And yeah. I was gonna say a big thing about like Romeo and Juliet, like not being like super romantic, but that's okay. We don't need to get into that. It is, especially in those moments.
It is.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, this is amazing. This is just, I love anything too with like this episode that is such good writing where there's nothing being said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
love
know,
the
they're
looks.
just looking
They can
at
tell the
each
whole
other.
story with looks.
Yeah.
And I love how Xena like ducks back, like kind of
Yes.
insecure or like hiding.
Gal should be the one because she's like literally draped in a bed sheet.
Well,
like
she's,
she's naked.
Yeah. Well, and the Gabs is a little bit more like, I don't really know what's happening. Like, just a little bit more like...
She's more awkward about it.
She's
Yeah, it's
staring
weirder
at
for her.
me.
Like,
Yeah, it is
this
weird,
is
yeah.
the Empress of Rome.
She's-
like,
yeah,
she
she's-
would feel strange.
Also, shout out to our friend Nora who watched this episode and was like, would they really put up the writer
Right.
in a hotel room right across from the palace?
Well, she is an honored guest. I think they
All
probably
right.
would.
All right. They're classy that way.
But yeah, like, just a lot of good faces. And then Gabs kind of was like, this is too much, so I'm going to leave.
A little too gay, I gotta leave. All right, Alti appears and tells Xena she's had a sexy vision about Xena and Gabs.
This is a really fun scene. I love Alti here. Katie, she had a line that was cracking you up.
Which one? She has so many in this episode.
Now I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's like a slightly sarcastic, just like...
I don't know. She has a few. She says that thing about, like, ooh, wouldn't Caesar give anything to have you look at him that way? That's good. Because she's like, Alti's looking at Xena, looking at Gabs, being like, look at these two lovely ladies in love.
Well, okay, so first Xena's like, bitch, what are you doing in my bedchamber? And Alti goes, it's Caesar's bedchamber too.
Oh, yeah, that one's good, too.
That is a really
She
good
says
one.
a lot
And
of
what
good
that
little-
implies.
That implies
is
a lot immediately.
Pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
And it also implies that, like, Xena knows and Alti knows that Xena knows. Like, this
Yeah.
is kind of just, like upfront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Alti attacks Xena.
This is surprising that Alti, who presumably has been kind of, you know, sweet-talking her way into power, like literally, and that she's not using her smoker voice, suddenly just decides, well, enough is enough. I'm just going to, like, beat up the Empress.
Yeah.
She steps up her ambitions.
I guess
like,
so.
it's you
She's
know.
ready to. She kind of has something on Caesar now, killing the emissaries for him. So I
Yeah.
wonder, if that's like the first step for her and like really go in for it.
Yeah. I like this fight a lot. I thought it was beautiful choreography, and I also love that both of the stunties were, you know, very like scantily clad. Mm-hmm. So it just looked really good and was very graceful.
It
with the fighting.
was. It was. I really like Katherine Fugate's decision to have Alti, because Caesar isn't really like a good like action villain. You know, he commands
He writes
armies.
letters.
Yeah, he writes letters mostly. Like, he isn't that guy for the fight scenes. I think it's cool to bring in Alti for
Well,
that.
I wouldn't think Alti either.
She's
but
awesome at fight scenes in part because her power is cool.
well,
And she
her
can
power
use
is
it
cool,
in a
but
physical
it's not
way.
like. But this is like they're doing like.
That's true.
fight.
They're
I
just
guess
fighting.
Clones gave you Alti that's like a fighter.
Yeah, Alti
But
can do
previously
that
to that,
stuff.
she
She
doesn't-
flies through the trees. She does it all, man.
She does it all. Yeah, she does whatever you want her to do.
That is so true.
So she grabs Xena by the throat.
Oh,
and-
there's also really cool music.
Okay, yeah.
I forget what it was, but I wrote in my notes really cool music.
Yeah.
Nice
It's all
description.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
Alti music. New and Alti-tastic.
So she grabs Xena by the throat and says that she can see into Xena's soul, where she's been and where she's going. So have some clips, bitch.
But
Yes.
clips.
Clips.
are from the show, the Warrior Princess.
Gasp.
Whoa.
The other timeline.
Whoa.
Crazy.
How does that work?
They're from what? They're from Ides of March. They're from The Way. They're from Destiny.
There was one of Xena like getting knocked over by a horse in an arena.
Oh yeah, the
wasn't
Roman guy.
Yeah,
because it's like all
a miscellaneous Rome episode.
Yeah, it's the
Not
one
sure
where
which.
she's in the arena and you think she's really getting hurt, but it's a long con. And I hate it.
Is this with Livia? It's
Probably,
Livia.
yeah. But it's like she's doing all the clips where Xena's getting super hurt.
Yeah.
So she's like
Drowning.
Yeah. But she sees herself in an Alti as well because she gives her clips
Right.
of Alti from that timeline beating up Xena.
Alti's very
The
confused by
dream's
suddenly seeing herself.
So then she like lets her go and she's like, she warns her that Caesar and Rome shall be hers. Mine, all mine. Oh my god, so many Alti cackles
God.
throughout this whole thing.
She's kind of giving me like Ursula the Sea Witch vibes.
Ooh, but like Ursula's as like that woman, like the hot woman who's like on the boat for a bit.
Ursula is hot.
No,
Yeah.
she's hot. I meant like the one with the higher voice.
Oh, when she turns herself into a human.
Yes.
Yeah, on the boat and sings. Yeah, okay.
Ursula is beautiful.
I mostly mean that she's like in the palace trying to take over from the king.
Nice.
That's what Ursula the Sea Witch tried to do, but then she got kicked out of the kingdom.
They're brother and sister.
I'm still confused by that.
That's Ursula and King Triton, who is so hot. All right, then Caesar and Brutus bust in and they're like, girls, break it up, please. Caesar wants to kill Alti right then and there, but Xena stops him and has this amazing line. Or, like, the line delivery is amazing, I thought. Like, when she's like, 'cause I want to do it. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, I love that one.
In the forum before the public. I
Yeah.
love that she's like, that's good justice. You know, you need the jury there.
Or at least witnesses.
Yeah, you need witnesses.
Yeah.
This isn't like a thing you do in secret. That's part of her being a good ruler there. Also, it's kind of nice that Caesar comes in and is just like immediately like, even though he's been sort of using
Plotting with
Alti,
yeah.
like it's like, okay, I'm ready to execute her. She attacked Xena.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I like this ship.
All right, dude. I didn't think I'd need so many coins for this episode, so I've run out. I'm just going to shake the jar.
It's all for me. So, Xena's really shaken. She's like visibly shaking by her altercation.
Altication?
Oh, altercation.
So she takes the comforting hug from Caesar.
That's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that comforting to me.
Well,
Caesar doesn't seem like he gives the best hugs.
You know what? This is like, it starts comforting, but then she sort of realizes that, never mind, I don't like you anymore, kind of thing.
In part because she's seen a glimpse now
But
of
she
the
doesn't
other
see.
timeline.
Oh, well, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Can you imagine having that?
Yeah.
And then she can see Gabs? Or she can't see Gabs?
Caesar sees Gabs. Gabs, meanwhile, is
Gabs
like, doo, doo,
came
doo,
out.
I'm back
came
out.
back
I
out.
think she must have heard
Yeah, sure.
commotion.
Sure.
The altercation.
Yeah.
She heard the altercation and came back out.
And so Caesar, meanwhile, can see her, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You're not wearing any clothes.
Oh boy. This is escalating quickly. So next morning, Xena gets the news that Caesar sent Brutus to arrest Gabs. Apparently, Alti confessed that her and Gabs are accomplices. And they're,
With the emissaries
yes,
of
they're
Chin.
in cahoots with the emissaries
What
of
a
Chin.
masterstroke for Caesar.
It's
like all the birds
perfect.
with one stone.
Perfect. And he's like, hope you weren't too fond of her.
And I love that Xena sort of manages to lie there. You see the panic and pain in her eyes, but she's like, oh no.
Yeah. Can we talk about this, Luke?
Yes.
I love her hair.
Curly
curly?
hair.
Curly bangs. I'm all
You're into
in.
it.
All in.
What about the velvet?
I love that too, but I just like that, like the long earrings, those bangs. It was just so specifically like beautiful 80s, but like not
Very
really,
80s.
but not really, because it's like all,
It's
like the
up,
rest of
yeah.
it is.
Well, I feel you.
Teen.
There's a vibe with the dark velvety look as well. There's something very
well, royalty.
particular
you know?
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say it's my favorite, but I respect its presence here. And she obviously looks amazing.
It's like a very hip look now because it's like retro technically. Yeah.
And this is the like it kind of looks just like a shawl, but then it has a slit, right? It's like a shawl with a slit.
She has I think there's a shawl part.
Yeah.
And, like, the skirt
thing
has a
slit.
very, very, very high slit.
Okay.
Very high.
Okay.
And then it's also part of the outfit that just, like, if she takes the shawl part off, it's just a bra.
It's just a bra.
Basically.
Yeah. It's a bit of a strange outfit,
Odd.
this one.
But the slit is very good.
The slit is very good. And the color is gorgeous.
I just love the hair. That's all I focus on.
The hair is fun. It's definitely fun. It's,
like,
not something that we've seen.
Yeah, we've never seen her have curly bangs. That's for sure.
I don't know if we've really seen her have these tight curls at all, right?
No. Xena with a perm, I don't
It's like
think
a
so.
fashion. It's like Gab's having the, like, super curls.
Yeah, but she didn't really have them in the previous, like in the theater scene. I feel like her hair was slightly different. I don't know.
No, it wasn't curly, no.
Yeah, she curled it last night after Alti. She needed to get some stress out.
Maybe she liked
put the
Gab's curls, and she was like,
out.
"Oh, I like those. I'm gonna do that too, also."
Oh man! All right, so Gabs. Oh, this is so upsetting because the guards they put her, they like dump her in the prison cell,
And they do not tell her what's going on.
And can you imagine? You're like, this is what's horrific. Is just like she's a visiting playwright in another country. And suddenly you're arrested and you're like, no one tells you why. And like, that's like so fucked up.
But probably a little voice in the back of your head is like, I was naked on that balcony making eyes
At
with
the Empress.
Maybe
I shouldn't have done that. So she's like pleading her innocence because of course obviously she is. But only one guard there, a Roman guard, is kind of like, what the fuck about the situation? This is Ted Raimi.
Ted!
And what's going on here?
He's here being
Somehow,
a guard.
if Xena went off with Caesar instead of getting crucified, Joxer would move to Rome.
But he's not Joxer.
He's Joxer.
He's not
credited as Joxer.
But not when Xena calls him Neil.
When did she call him Neil?
That's a name people say.
I don't know. Maybe the subtitles went crazy. But at one point...
Are you sure she wasn't like telling him to kneel?
Maybe, I don't know. I know that it's just a little bit weird because they never say his name.
They never say his name.
Like, they never say Joxer.
He's so different.
And he's so different, and he gives you the story that is just not at all
something that sounds like Joxer.
Yes.
That he has a child who is sick.
Yeah. And
Xena helps cure by lending him the doctor. It is surprising, and obviously Ted is just approaching this very differently from Joxer.
Yeah.
But I think it is meant to be Joxer.
Okay, because otherwise it's as like the most confusing thing since like Deadwood, where Garrett Dillahunt
just
played
two different characters.
Two different characters, and you were like did not know.
Three, because he was in the Deadwood movie.
Well, that's okay. That's
an extra.
A lot of time has passed between those, and like, but his first character was very prominent, and then his second character shows
very
up
prominent.
very prominent. And you're like, what? Is it the same guy? Nobody explained.
Secret twins.
Yeah.
But I think here, some of the story behind the confusion is that Joxer wasn't intended to be in this episode. This character was not written with Ted in mind.
Okay.
He was reporting to set to do Soul Possession. And the timing worked out that he was there early enough that they were like, okay, let's just get him in there to play this guard. And, quickly improv some lines to sound a little bit funnier and more Joxer-y. I think it's meant to be Joxer.
This is crazy.
Even though this was all very last minute, the intention is this is Joxer in this timeline. Yeah.
It is curious that somehow without Xena, his life like put him into this like completely different path. Like, what about his family? Like, his brothers are still... an assassin.
Yeah, they
his
met
dad's
him
still an
and
assassin.
he was like a total
he was like a doofus trying to be an assassin.
I think he probably had a moment like what he has in, what is it called? I forget the name of the episode, but the one where he, accidentally kills someone and kind of has that wake up moment.
Okay.
And, matures and decides to live a life that doesn't involve violence, at least not that kind of violence, because here he is kind of still being violent in the sense that he's a soldier of Rome. But yeah, I don't think it's that weird that he ends up in Rome because older Joxer
They did
live in Rome.
Yeah.
Do you think his wife
With
is still Meg?
Maybe.
Oh man.
That could still be true.
So he should be like, man, my wife looks just like you, Empress.
Oh my god.
But it's interesting that they have Ted Raimi here. I was reading about some of the like early like pitches that Rob had to Katherine Fugate about like things she could include in her script, and he really wanted her to have Ghost Joxer there.
Ghost?
What is wrong with Rob?
But as a sort of like, you know, trying to like correct the timeline, I guess there would be like Ghost Joxer from our time.
How would he?
I don't know how
a horrible idea.
Good thing
It sounds
she's
like
no.
Ghost Effany, and we did not need that.
Yeah,
No.
let alone
Oh
Ghost
my
Joxer.
god.
How can you see? This is where the timey-wimey comes in. It's like, how can you? I guess if you exist out of time completely, as
If
a
you don't
dead
have a
person,
corporeal body, you can cross
you can
the
sort of
streams.
see all of the streams. Yeah, which of course maybe there are millions, obviously, but that would be very confusing for a ghost. You're just paying attention to all this stuff. I don't know.
So luckily, what Katherine Fugate said about that is she felt that was a much more comedic take on the
Yeah.
episode, and she was able to resist
Good.
and all of Rob's comedic impulses.
Good.
She wanted to do her serious melodrama,
Yes.
and
God.
she was allowed to.
Yes,
I
this
love
is a
you, Katherine
melodramatic episode.
Fugate.
It's-
Like, Jesus. Those are terrible suggestions.
This is when you want to think about like melodramatic Xena and romance. Like this is it. It doesn't get any bigger.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had the double balcony scene. How can we out Romeo and Juliet? Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Let's do. They're both on balconies. Wow.
Oh, guys. Okay, wait. So I have pulled up on the transcript.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Vera, you were correct in that Xena does refer to Joxer as Neil, as it is in the transcript on Whoosh, and it says Neil ? Because I think everybody was like, "What?" I guess his name is Neil.
Yeah.
That's so odd Roman name.
So he, that is.
Greek name Yield.
The old Neil.
Neil.
But that just implies that he plays a completely different character, and so
Who
we have
happens
a
to look like Jackson.
so we have a Garrett Dillahunt situation.
He's a
Or
doppelganger.
just a doppeljoxer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But needlessly confusing in an alternate timeline
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
to call him Neil.
But also, yeah, or have
But
Joxer.
Joxer changed his name. Maybe he's hiding from
Maybe
his
he's
family.
hiding.
Oh,
his
okay, here
family.
we go. Here
There
we
you
go.
That's my explanation
And was
for
like,
this.
I'll call myself Neil.
We could have used a little bit more lines about Neil
They
slash
could have not
Joxer.
called him Neil. And then it's just like ambiguous.
Neil.
I just think that, like, because when you see him, you're like, oh, this is Joxer, and he's a Roman guard. So,
Maybe
like, what happened?
Lucy said something, and everybody thinks that it
Is
is the
Neil.
word Neil, like the name, but
she
said
says,
something else.
guards, Neil,
Maybe
come
she
with
said
me.
something else, and it was just messed up.
He definitely, like, works for her here. Like,
Yeah.
he's her go-to guard.
Okay.
She loves
Well,
Neil.
anyway, romantic balcony.
Woo! All right, listen, can we talk about this amazing scene in the prison where Gabs is getting her hair cut?
Yes, please.
It's so good. It's entirely silent, except for the fact that you hear the loudness of the shears, like getting like louder and louder.
Vera, did this remind you of Kate Blanchett getting her hair cut in Elizabeth?
Yeah, it reminded me of a lot of things, a lot of haircuts. Not quite, because that was like she chose to do that.
That's true.
And she wanted
That's
that, and
different.
her maid who was like cutting it was crying
crying.
about it. It was more like Cersei getting her hair cut.
Yes,
However,
In
Septim
Game of Thrones?
in Game of Thrones, Septim Mordane did not do as good of a job as this guy did. What is up with the dudes on this show cutting Gabs' hair so well?
So good.
this
I think
season?
they actually need a Joxer fan actor, Black Wolf's boyfriend actor, to come back just to play this guard
Yes.
for consistency. That this guy throughout all of time and space
does the
gives
best
Gabrielle
Gabs
really good
haircuts.
haircuts.
Yeah.
It is cute when it's done there. It is a little like fucked up, but it's still
Yeah.
like a well done cut.
I just really love that, you know, it's not, she couldn't say anything, but I mean, like, can you just imagine where she, like, her mindset right now? Like, she yesterday, her play was like received so well by the Emperor and Empress of Rome and everybody there in the court. And today she's been thrown in prison and her hair is getting cut and she's going to be crucified.
Right.
That is fucked up.
That's a lot.
That's fucked up.
I do think it's interesting that this haircut is part of Gabrielle's fate across all of time and space.
It is interesting. Like,
she
why?
was destined to have short hair. She couldn't hide from it. It was going to happen.
It's who she is, you know? That's kind of... her haircut was very monumental. So, amazing acting by Renee. And then...
Her costume.
Her costume is the wrappings that we've previously seen in Ides of March.
Yeah. I love that they've made it the exact same look.
Yes.
Another thing stalking them through all of time and space.
So Neil/Joxer lets Xena into the cell to speak to the prisoner. Xena asks Gabs if she's an assassin, because that's what Caesar says.
Gabs says she hasn't harmed anyone in her life.
Oh my God.
This innocent, sweet baby angel has done
Not a single murder.
has done no killing.
She only writes about
She
them.
just kills
Has
grapes.
done no violence.
Stomping.
What?
Yeah.
Stomps the
In the
grapes.
vineyard.
Oh, in the vineyard. I was like Lucy and I Love Lucy? What?
Basically.
Yeah, I guess so. That's Gaz's life.
Yeah.
I love how she's like, but why should you believe me instead of your husband? And Xena's like, I believe you.
Because you read a play.
Believe women. I do not believe Caesar about anything.
She's like, anyone who believes that love is worth dying for obviously can't be an assassin.
They're so extra.
She says it's not exactly the path of an assassin. And I thought that was significant that she says
Why not both?
Because, I mean, our Gabs in our timeline, it is sort of her path, is that she believes love is worth dying for and killing for. And maybe it's not the, traditional path of the assassin, but it is.
Well, this Gabs definitely
Gabs is
killed
not
everything
an assassin.
here.
She is
being
that's
the
true.
word assassin.
No one pays her to kill people.
Very specific. You know.
She kills people for free.
Yes.
So I love that while they're talking, they hear the sound of hammering.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cross is being built right on top of the
This
cell,
is line
basically.
delivery. So good.
So good. You can't have a crucifixion without crosses.
Yeah. Which we all know is a line from Ides, which the show will remind us of as well shortly.
I also think it's interesting that they put, this line that Caesar says on the show Xena, and gives that to Xena. And I'm like, he must just say that a lot. He goes around being like, you can't have a crucifixion without crosses. She's quoting him.
Well, it makes me wonder, does she order crucifixions?
Right? You should be wondering about this, Vera, because being the Empress of Rome is not a good thing.
Like, when she's out and about conquering, does she order crucifixions?
I don't, just to be...
Like Daenerys Targaryen.
She's putting a lot of people into slavery. She
is she?
doing
We
a lot
haven't
of
seen her
bad
do that,
stuff.
but I do
It's
question
just-
her
yes.
knowing this line.
Yes. Well, she would be a part of it. It is punishment in Roman times. This is what it is. It's punishment.
But it's just very specific because, without her having experienced it herself, like how she did in Destiny, she is, easily dishing it out. She asks why Caesar would want Gabs dead. Gabs has no fucking clue. She says she's just a playwright who leads a simple life living on her vineyard by the sea. What possible threat could she be to the great Julius Caesar?
Xena's gonna go find out. What could it be?
She goes straight to Alti's cell, and Alti's doing some amazing sitting.
Oh my god. This is some good shit.
Yeah.
This is oh my god, the most come hithery
sitting
I've ever seen. You can tell how much Claire Stansfield loves this costume.
So Xena walks in there and she's like, Alti, I want you to put your hands on me.
Yes, that was the lie. It's so
As
good.
kinky as possible,
hands on
please.
She says last night those hands gave her insight. And Alti's like, all right, I'm going to show you things.
She valued the inside knowledge.
Inside knowledge.
This is reminding me of a ship that I have, which is Alti Xena.
Wow.
Good ship.
Zalty?
Salty. The saltiest ship.
So Alti agrees to touch her good, but only if Xena frees her after.
Which Xena agrees to.
All right, let's do this. Give me those clips.
Clips time.
Unleash the clips.
Unleash the clips.
Alti takes Xena by the throat and shows her Caesar being a dick, cheating on her, crucifying her, etc.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that for the most part, these are all clips from, the other timeline, Xena Warrior Princess timeline. But then you have clips of Caesar fucking Alti with Xena watching.
Yeah, that was weird.
Mm-hmm. Was it? But did we know that it was Alti at that point?
No,
because it was like a blonde,
a
brunette,
you just
kind of
see
like riding
Caesar sleeping with someone in bed and Xena in the background like staring.
Watching it.
Yeah. So but I think in retrospect we understand that Xena had witnessed this a while ago and that she knows that Caesar is unfaithful, and that's part of why she rejects him, doesn't want to sleep with him at the beginning.
No.
I think so. Okay, Vera.
Then it's my favorite. Okay, so then she starts showing her clips of Gabs,
Yes.
right? And this is my favorite because it reminded me of the scene from before when Alti's like, "Tell me who the blonde one is."
Oh, yeah.
And I just love that line so much.
Good times from Sid Trade, the blonde one.
Yeah.
So good. And what else?
Gabs telling Xena that she learned that there are things worth dying for.
This is one against an army.
You can't have a crucifixion without crosses, Brutus. Mm-hmm. Ides of March.
And that line about things worth dying for is such a close echo of what they were discussing about Gabrielle's play. So that's a nice...
It's big.
It's a big...
One against an army is big. But that's kind of one of my things with the romance and stuff that I don't super want to get into yet. Where, like, it's interesting to watch When Fates Collide and One Against an Army because they're both very, very romantic in very different ways, I feel like. And they both talk about love and the greater good in very different ways, I think. Like, that are very similar. They're all tied together. I'm ranting. This will be for later. But, like, the ultimate, like, things that they talk about are all, like, tied together. But, like, this episode specifically is just all about their relationship. Yeah. The two of them two together.
It's sacrificing everything for love versus
concept.
Sacrificing love for everything.
Right. It's like, So it's interesting. I just think they're interesting. It's this big, sweeping, romantic episode, and then there's a very small, intimate episode with this concept that can mean different things, I think. And I think that's important. The end.
So the final image that Alti shows Xena is Caesar cutting the thread.
So she realizes that, in some sense, that Caesar is responsible for whatever it is that
has
happened.
Well, they both realize that there's another life out there.
It's super totally fine that also Alti can tap into, like...
That.
Yeah.
Well, like we said that, she's like a shamanist. She always goes between worlds, et cetera, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and Katie and I were speculating that the reason that this starts happening for Alti with Xena specifically is Xena is somehow the focus point of all the changes.
Right, we made it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caesar does this for Xena to affect Xena.
Yes.
So through Xena, Alti is able to kind of unravel that plot.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's like, how could she tap into this other plane of existence? It has to be because Xena was the crux of the change.
Brief shout out to Ted Raimi, who in this scene is really funny.
Yeah.
It has this wry humor about opening the cell door and letting Xena inside. She threatens him, and he's like, "Oh yes, you're right. I'll open the door." And Vera's really
unnecessary humor moments. Thanks.
I like his.
Literally, do not need any of it.
I think it's cool to see him do this other style of comedy, this sort of dry.
Why did we need
sarcastic?
Gabrielle's
wit.
about to be crucified. Why did we need a scene of Ted Raimi and having a comedy moment?
It's very good though.
Yeah, it's called a little release of
Not
tension
there.
to keep you.
We didn't need it there.
You need-
I was okay with the
you
later
need-
thing, but like not this one.
You need a bit
Wow,
of comedy.
Vera.
You need a little bit.
This is like the tiniest little bit of comedy.
This
This
episode
isn't
is
like
serious.
jocks are falling over. This is literally just a single witty line.
That one was unnecessary.
Okay.
So
Vera is problematicing herself all over the place.
here comes Neil, and he tells Xena that they're taking Gabs to be crucified. So that's bad, and she's put on a cross, and that's nothing's funny about that.
Nothing's funny about that, Vera. You're right.
So they're gonna, the guards are like ready to put the nails like through her palms.
And I love that director John Fawcett shoots this exactly like Ides of March, which is, kind of awesome of him. He didn't direct Ides of March,
No.
so for him to deliberately kind of follow the blueprint of another director's work, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Also, I don't even know, because so much of that crucifixion footage, as you remember, was actually shot by T.J. Scott in the flash forward. So this is like a little echo of T.J. from years back.
I think he did that thing that David Fincher did when he directed Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, where he like studied the Swedish girl with the dragon tattoo and just literally did the opposite of everything. Like if a shot was like whatever facing one way, he would like film
Flip
it
it.
the other way.
But these I don't think are flipped, are they? The crucifixion? I thought it was exactly the same eye lines and stuff. Gabs is,
okay, then
Gabs
that's
is
good.
looking, when she says, I love you, Xena.
Oh, she's looking to her
Yeah.
right. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, you're right. It is flipped. It's flipped.
Yes, it is.
It's flipped.
Yes. There we go.
Okay, we figured that out.
Plus it's rain, not snow.
And also, it's not going to be her saying, I love you.
Oh,
in this
shit.
episode.
Okay, everything's topsy-turvy. All right, so they're going to hammer the nail, but Xena busts outside, and she's like the Kool-Aid man. She's like, stop!
Oh my god, I love her sauntering in with her slit right here.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of leg.
Oh, I mean, her legs stopped
Yeah.
that crucifixion.
Right?
Yep.
In its tracks.
She tells Caesar, I know what you did.
Last summer.
Yeah. He's like, how could you crucify me like that on the beach? But babe, that's why I wanted to give us another chance.
Oh boy. Gross.
Caesar's I've had better experiences with women was
Yeah.
an amusing line delivery by Carl Urban, who's very entertaining in this episode. We haven't really
Yeah.
talked about him.
That's true.
His
Kyle
acting.
Urban?
Good old Kyle. He is coming in straight off, fresh off Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to have him back. I feel like this is his best outing as Caesar. It is entertaining as Fook.
They basically have like a marital fight right in front of everybody,
Yep.
plus Gabs being like on the cross.
It's super messy.
It's really
It
messy.
really is.
Caesar says that their legions are prepping to attack Lao Ma's kingdom in Qin, and once conquered, they'll be emperor and empress not just of Rome, but of the world.
That is their big D destiny.
I feel like for a hot sec, it sounded appealing to Xena. Like just a tiny little hot
Maybe.
sec. But then she
That
sees
lust
Gabs.
for power
yeah.
continues to be a force in her life, but
She
pretty
sees Gabs on the cross and
minimal.
she's like, no,
Yeah.
it's bad.
I think so. The eyes of Gabs tell her that is not a thing she even finds all that attractive anymore.
I do like that Caesar in that moment, like she's into what he's saying, but then looks at Gabs like, nah. He moves her chin back and he's like, it's our destiny. Like, I love that it's like physically, he's like, stop looking at Gabs.
Gabs. But so they strike this bargain,
Yeah.
which Xena suggests. She says, "Okay, if you release Gabrielle, I'll do whatever you want. I'll help you conquer the world. But if you kill Gabs, she will dedicate this life to changing things back to the way they were, and I can do it because we both know." I have many skills.
That
So
was
good.
an amazing line delivery and just like an amazing surprise because we haven't heard that in so long.
Yeah, I was trying to even remember the last time we heard it. It must be several seasons.
Yeah. It just was good. Like,
Yeah.
see, that wasn't funny. Like, it was just good.
It was just good.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. It was organic.
It was. And, it's a nice, because we've had Xena, she doesn't have her chakram, she doesn't have her traditional warrior princess costume. So much about her is different.
She's her war cry still.
She still has a war cry. She's always had that. It's nice to have these moments that then kind of evoke the nostalgia of the Xena we know, and we go, fuck yes.
Yes. Can we brief mention to Gabs's foundation tears?
Oh, God. The foundation tears are so good. I
So
can't believe
good.
this doesn't happen all that often on the show.
I know. What was going on
They do
there?
so much crying. You'd think the foundation would be running constantly.
It's just here, really. Yeah. Okay, so Xena marches down and, shoos all the guards away. She's like, get away from her.
She says, get your hands off her.
Yes, important line. Slaps them away and picks, Gabs up off the cross. Gabs is like, thank you, Empress.
I'm in your debt.
Debt.
Another big D.
Okay, but again, this reminded me a lot of Remember Nothing, where Xena's attention to Gabs was a lot, and Gabs, from her perspective, is like, why is she obsessed with me?
Right.
Because she doesn't know. She's like, I'm not your empress, I'm your friend. That's confusing. You just met.
That is confusing.
It is very confusing. It's so much gentle touching
So
as
much.
well.
Oh my god.
Doesn't she take off her velvet shawl?
She gives her a
does.
shawl.
She
and
puts it
wraps
around her
up
little
in it.
shoulders.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's like, go back to your vineyard by the sea. Write
Be
all those
happy.
great plays you have inside you. Be happy. Oh no.
Yeah, it's so sweet because I feel like the be happy line, this commandment to be happy with the life that she had, that now motivates Gabs to confess something. Which is that her life is empty despite her success in her vineyard.
No.
She writes about love, but she's never felt it before.
Oh my god.
Faces.
Oh.
Xena wipes away, swipes at the foundation tears on Gabs's little face. So good. She's basically like, Rome's not safe, please leave.
Yeah, I know. She's like, I'm not interested in your to be this isn't a therapy session, Gabs. Please get out of here.
Yeah.
I just called for your horse, get out. And Gab's like, I'll never forget you.
Oh.
Caesar's been watching this whole thing, and he's like, oh my god. He walks into his bedchamber, and there's Alti waiting for him on the bed. She's like a cat, really.
Yeah.
Very suspicious cat.
I love how she's like, your wife freed me.
So good.
And now I'm lying on your bed all sexy.
Yeah. Caesar's like, well, duh, you showed her visions of her former life.
And this was clever because I didn't realize when Alti agreed to do that for Xena that she was kind of doing it knowing that it would turn Xena against Caesar. I think that's actually very smart of Alti. Alti is a great villain when she gets to be as smart as this.
Okay, then she says, I love Rome just as much as you, Caesar. What? Since when does she love Rome?
She loves Caesar. Caesar is Rome.
I don't think she loves
She
Caesar.
doesn't love Caesar. She loves power the same as Caesar
But it's such a weird thing to say.
Maybe Rome.
Do you know what it
power
really means?
Equals to I love power.
Caesar doesn't love Rome, so Alti loves Rome as much as Caesar does. Not at all.
Yeah, there we go. I think you're right. So Caesar's like, you know what? You want to prove your awesome new powers? You want to prove your loyalty? Go find and kill Gabrielle. Cool, I will do that.
He's
says
like,
Alti.
I'm gonna fast motion run there right now.
So Gabs is writing GTFO style out of Rome on her horse.
So fast.
Where'd you get this purple robe?
That's the robe that Xena got her, put her around
Really?
her shoulders.
But it's purple. It's not that
Velvet.
velvet.
It was always
Velvet, purple velvet.
I thought she had this purple
burgundy.
dress
Maybe it's just
thing
the
now.
lighting.
I think it's the lighting, the coloring of that seems just different.
Okay, I'll allow it.
So she's writing, and suddenly she's altied.
Yes.
Alti blocked.
Yeah, Alti blocked,
Another
yeah.
altercation.
Yeah.
This whole showdown with Gabs and Alti gave me such strong them bones vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting in the spirit plane.
Yes.
And then I went back and looked at it and realized that's John Fawcett too. So John Fawcett directing Alti action with Gabs.
Yeah.
it looks
He has
like
a
this.
thing. He has a specific
He has a thing
thing
he does with
likes.
Alti.
Yeah. So she does Alti has crazy super speed, like running around. She also does the telekinesis, but this I thought was a nice I Dream of Jeannie shout out because she does it with the head nod.
Oh my god.
like Jeannie.
I see.
She does.
I'm gonna assume that's deliberate.
It's deliberate.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
So she's like, oh, you know what the fate worse than death is? Dying before knowing who you really are.
Interesting.
That's nice that she
Decides to
decides to tell her so she doesn't have to die without knowing.
Right.
Yeah. So she shows her some clips.
She does a bunch of clips.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
pretty nice that she's like, quick, Gabs, before you die, I'm going to show you the entire show, Xena Warrior Princess. It's pretty nice. Consider it.
Yeah, so now Gabs is aware of, the other world.
This is a very sweet clip show. I guess because Renee just looks so physically different in those first season clips,
gosh.
I just have such a feel whenever they play them
Baby.
now.
Very baby.
Yeah.
Tiny, small Gabs.
What are the clips again? Do you have a
Definitely
couple?
take me with you, show me everything, you know. Yeah. And then I remember Ides also being there. and some of the Abyss.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the weird clip of her with the thing in her mouth.
That was really traumatic, so I guess that would come to the
But it's
surface.
dumb.
Yeah, this is super
Well, it was her being like, Xena! So, they
Yeah.
know each other.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Sure.
Okay, so suddenly Xena rides up. She rides up in the very same way as she did in the beginning of the episode.
She's
like
back
on
in
the
her
horse. In that outfit. She got the bow and arrow. She shoots at Alti.
And she's like, Alti!
Yeah, so good yelling.
Really good
Yes.
yelling.
She scares Alti away, but, it's not like she left. She's just, running around behind the trees.
But there's this so good, Xena looks so good. She's looking for Alti. The hair, again, woofing around.
Moving around.
In the breeze.
Well, it's doing
The
that
spinning
thing,
camera.
yeah. So the camera does the 360 spin. Well, first of all, Xena jumps to help Gabs, but Gabs is under Alti thrall.
Yeah,
she's
really
fucked
stuck.
up.
She has
She's
the
stuck.
nose blood.
Yeah, she's stuck.
She's way more fucked up by the memories than Xena is.
Well, I think she's just not. She's in her grip still.
I guess so.
So,
Alti
can't
is just
move.
paralyzed her.
So Xena, the camera does a 360 spin around them, and when you have the actor spin as well, it creates this amazing
So
beautiful hair whooping and whooshing and beautiful movement on screen. So that's what's happening, and that's very good.
Alti has a hilarious piece of exposition.
This is what I keep laughing at. This part.
She says that, because Alti has been getting glimpses of the other world too. So she saw how strong she herself was in the other world. And she's learning from that. So now she's hitting her own stride, and that's why she has all these superpowers, super speed.
Yeah.
Which she didn't have in the other world, right?
I don't think she had that.
Super speed.
Fajinking speed, yeah.
Okay, but Xena has an amazing line in response to
This
this.
stuff is so good.
This isn't about you, Alti.
Stop making it all about you, Alti.
It's just like, oh, yes, it is.
That cut is great because she fajinks, and we use this. What can we explain? Fajink.
Okay, fajink. This is a very,
it's a really
very
deep
inside
cut.
joke, but it's very easy to explain. It's what happens in The Ring.
The Ring, the movie The
This is a
Ring.
spoiler for The Ring if you haven't seen it. So skip ahead a minute if you don't want to be
I
spoiled.
really would like this to catch on. Everybody start using the word
Fajink
fajink.
is an onomatopoeia, right? So it sounds like what it is. when Samara comes out of the TV. And then
Yeah,
she
but-
quickly moves real quick at
You just
Like the broken TV effect.
Yeah.
like lightning speed, like
just
you're
like-
in one place and then you're really quickly in another place, like
Yeah.
what Alti is doing here.
Yes, fajinking.
She
Yes.
faked. Okay,
I don't have
that's part of our
Technical
vocabulary.
term. It's a technical film term.
we
You can look
say
it up
it.
in Wardwell and Thompson's film art books under F.
Under F, not a PH.
So I'm sorry, we're talking about Alti fajinking.
Yes, so that's what she's doing right here.
She says, oh yeah, so Xena's like, just stop making it all about you, Alti. This isn't all about you. Alti fajinks up onto the top of a hill. It's like this really wide shot, so it's
Yeah.
like tiny little Alti.
And her prehistoric garb.
Yes!
Hilarious leopard print shenanigans.
And she's like, oh yes it is. It's all about me and what I know. Amazing line delivery by Claire Stansfield.
Oh, she's a
good.
real star in this episode.
And the editing, I think, of this whole sequence,
Yeah.
we should say, like, shout out to Robert Field. Awesome stuff here with just the way it creates the super speed effect with Alti and just, you don't see her for a lot of the time and it increases that sense of threat.
Okay, then she says something that's very interesting. She says, your story will end with your playwright unable to save her fallen angel. And I thought that should be some pins.
That should be some pins.
Alti's got the whole timeline.
Both
does.
timelines.
Yeah.
She seems to know the future of this particular
Episode,
timeline
yeah.
and
Yeah.
of the other timeline.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
Alti. It is about you, girl. It is about you,
Alti's
Alti.
spin up. Alti's spin up. Okay, then she flies at Xena like a flying squirrel, like from very far away, just straight to the camera.
It's deeply stupid. I don't like it.
And then Xena I do love the shot of her taking off and like flying at Alti herself.
cool,
yeah.
It's
With her
beautiful.
scream, yeah.
I mean, so much of this is like slow-mo as well. They kind of like connect midair. It's a little silly. Then they fall on the ground and Xena punches Alti out. And that kind of frees Gabs from the Alti thrall.
I have a question. I just realized you were saying about pinning Fallen Angel. I feel like only in our timeline, Xena Warrior Princess timeline, would you refer to Xena as Fallen Angel. You're right. Alti is talking about canonical timeline of the show.
But she also watched the play Fallen Angel and knows that they were like making
That was about Xena and Gab.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
But yeah, that really fits. Like eerily so. Wow. Okay.
Okay, so then the Roman soldiers attack, and there's a lot of slow-mo fighting here. Xena is arrowed.
She gets
Twice.
a crossbow.
Twice,
She gets
but
one in the shoulder and one in the thigh.
they kind of forget about the thigh one.
Put a pin in that for this episode. We'll talk about that.
Oh,
Alright.
okay.
Caesar arrives, and he's like, you couldn't let it go, eh?
What is it?
Well, just this whole Gabs, I think, is
Gabs
it.
is it. He was supposed to let it go.
I mean,
she literally
yeah.
made a deal so that he'd let Gabs go. He refused. He betrays her in every timeline, as she quickly points out to him.
She calls him scum.
Yeah, no
in
matter
every
what
timeline.
life you live,
Yeah.
you'll always be scum.
Not even the fates could change that. That's a burn.
Oof, that is a good burn.
Yeah. Caesar tells her that she will always hold a special place in Rome's heart amongst Caesar's conquered. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Fuck.
I told you she was his property.
Well,
Yeah,
now
he stinks.
he makes it so. And she spits in his face. Stupid face.
Stupid makeup face.
Then the soldiers tie her to a horse and they drag her.
This drag.
We haven't had a drag in a long time.
Well, this one is happening right now.
This is a nice I never thought I'd be nostalgic.
Nostalgic dragon.
Drags.
Aww.
But yeah, I am.
And Neil is holding Gabs back because she's all trying to help.
Stop.
His
can't
name's
believe
Neil.
Every
His
time you
name's
do it,
Neil.
I'm like, wait, who?
His name's Neil. And
I'm just imagining Neil Gaiman there for some reason. I'm like, what?
Neil Young.
Neil Young, that's better.
Alti does her, cackling, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
And not only that, but she like looks eyeballs Caesar as she cackles. There's definitely it's just you and me now, buddy.
So back in the palace, Caesar asks Brutus how the legions are doing. Brutus says that they're concerned about Xena.
It's another reminder about how popular she was with the army.
Yeah. Caesar says she defied his orders and attacked Roman troops, so that's treason, and treason is punishable by death.
This also, like, Caesar totally is like, well, Brutus seems sort of like he won't like anything that's about to happen, so this is the time.
It's weird that he kept him around for this long, when clearly at the beginning of the episode, he already like
hated him
his
for
grudge.
years.
Yeah,
but I guess he's useful to have around. He is loyal, and maybe you're right, Vera, that Caesar has been restraining himself from doing anything too immoderate.
I think so.
Clearly, that would lose Brutus's loyalty.
And I think the examples of like what is happening is the fact that the Loom is like getting more and more fucked up. Like he's acting more. And
I
more
don't blame
irrational.
the Loom. I blame the man. Sorry, Vera.
It's a good like inspirational quote. Brutus says that the troops look up to Xena, and Caesar's like, "Do you look up to Xena, Brutus?"
Brutus is like, "Well, yeah, she's taller than I am."
Caesar then says that, you know what, Alti will be joining us on the march east as my new empress. Got any problems with that, Brutus?
I think he tries to pass it off. He's like, all right, whatever. Yay, Rome.
He says, like, well, if I speak out, it's not anything personal.
That's right.
It's like, because I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And then
he is concerned.
I mean,
poor Brutus.
Of course. And then Caesar's like, don't misunderstand me. It's not that I love you any less, but I love Rome more. And finally,
stabby,
penetration.
All right. Not finally. They've been doing it all
on
the
screen,
time.
on screen for them. For
Well,
those
here
two.
you go. So Caesar thinks he's so smart.
And he says, and I am Rome.
Yeah, and so he stabs Brutus in the gut. Brutus falls over, and it's like the same shot as Ides of March when Brutus stabs Caesar.
This is also, these are lines from the Shakespeare play Julius Caesar, except they're Brutus lines. So it's fun that Caesar himself gets to speak Brutus lines.
So in this prison cell, Neil lets Gabs in to see Xena, and this is where...
This is such a good show.
This is fine. This is okay. This can stay.
Oh my God.
Excellent.
This is I like this. He goes, I can't believe they were going to kill you for writing that bad play.
So good. Line delivery, A++.
Yeah.
Again, I so wish that Ted had gotten more opportunities to do this style of humor, this kind of underplaying,
instead of Joxer,
dry humor. Yeah, I think he's so good at it. I think this is probably more true to who Ted is.
Yeah.
His style of comedy. He just kills at it. It's awesome.
Yeah, this was a nice needed moment of like an LOL.
And it's nice to see a moment with Gabs and Neil Joxer. These two characters who have had so much history.
But also, like, because of how nobody but, Caesar knows the real reason why he was going to kill Gabs, like, that's what you assume. Like, oh, I guess they really hated
didn't like
her
the play.
But honestly, like, back in ye olde times, that people have killed
shit like
that.
Oh my God, they would totally execute Benioff and Weiss. They'd be so dead right now.
Oh my God. So, Gabs goes into Xena's cell. Let's talk.
Okay.
Discuss.
I don't want to. I think we should skip it.
Yeah, next slide.
Yeah, next slide.
She's like laid out on the little cot.
She's so beaten up. Is this all just from the two arrow wounds?
No, this is from the dragging.
Oh, I forgot from the dragging.
Remember you were so nostalgic.
Yes, you were so into it.
She's really messed up.
I forgot the dragging mess is actually really violent.
This is every scene that's romantic. Like this, they just compounded all this stuff into this one scene. Added some hurt comfort in, had everybody act their asses off. It might be like one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
It's real good.
Yeah.
You didn't think they could come
Out
close
Ides,
to Ides. Right.
They
the
don't
Ides prison
quite,
scene.
because it's still
I like it more.
You like it more than Ides?
I do because I don't know. I like the positioning of it, like the body positioning. Literally, you still get the little bit of like the pieta, but like without Mary like holding him, like because like when she first enters, like she's
in
like
this time. No, I'm kidding.
I actually think it's even more Jesus-y here
because she
here,
chooses to.
Yeah,
be,
here she's like, I'm being crucified for love. I'm like dying for the world. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Katie.
Oh,
you should
yeah,
take
no.
over.
Oh, I just don't even, because it's so good. Well, where to begin? She's so fucked up.
She's very fucked
with
up.
The arrows and the dragging.
How about
That's
when Gabs helps her sit up?
Okay.
And then has to apologize.
Yeah.
Because
it hurts so much.
Hurts so
like,
much.
literally, she can't, like, sit up. And she's like, I'm sorry. And Xena's like, it's okay. Very good.
That's some good hurt comfort there. When you're just helping someone to sit up and you feel the need to apologize for it. Katie, I just want to point out to our listeners, since you can't see her, is just like curled up in a ball, going like with a hand over her mouth, going,
It's really that I'm trying to read my notes. Because I wrote like bloody prison Luke. I wrote, what else?
Yeah, like her bandages seem like somehow dirtier.
They do.
Like, I guess she bled through
I guess,
them.
they've been through more.
Yeah, which I like more. See, that's part of why I like it more than Ides of March, because those were like so clean.
That's interesting.
I mean, they weren't really, but like
They're
the
different.
blood, the fact that it seeps through her bandages.
We can like both equally.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so
you
like
couldn't
one
have
of
one
the
without
things
the other.
Yes, exactly.
That like this kind of scene now goes into. So now Gabs has the memories of being Gabs in the other timeline. It's unclear sort of like how much seeing like the clips Alti throws at them, like how much do you know about like what it all is? Is it more like a feeling? Is it like do they now have like the entirety of their like life that they remember, or do they just remember like specific things?
I feel like it's a glimpse.
I think
So it's like a glimpse, right? So you have then Gabs kind of launches into this line that has echoed other scenes that are kind of similar to this. So like in the Ides of March prison scene, and then in Destiny, of course, big factor here, where like Xena dies at the end. She says a thing about like her relationship with Xena, making her like feel like the emptiness that she's always felt her entire life is gone. Like that's the line here. It like she says similar things in Ides of March. Ides of March, she says like she'd always felt invisible. In Destiny, she says that she actually says like it's sort of like it's basically the same line, but it's like a little bit flipped. She's like, if you die, like right now, I'm going to be so empty, kind of thing. Like it's like this emptiness and visibility, like through line with Gabs and like Xena making her this person that she was always meant to be. Situation that it's super gross. I love it.
Oh wow, it's really moving.
Yeah. So that again is just it's echoed here in that scene with that big line that Vera, you used in your vid.
It's so good.
What's the exact quote? Xena, when I'm with you, this emptiness that I have felt my entire life is gone. Ugh.
Right. Oh.
And I love that that's not even about the clips, you know?
No.
Like maybe the clips put that into a kind of context. Like she didn't quite understand what was happening before and the clips helped her. But in the end, what she's just saying is literally like, I felt this way. I met you.
Mm-hmm. She's putting into words what she felt the moment that they saw each other after the play.
The moment Xena threw that rose at her.
Yeah, it's like an immediate like connection from across the room. I guess it's like what you call love at first sight.
Yeah.
You know? So
well, there was that line that
so
Steve Sears said, right, about
the friends.
love at first sight.
Oh, sorry.
Friend.
The song about the Muppet song.
Yeah, a friend you haven't met yet.
Yeah, there's no word yet for
the
friend. I forget how it is.
The Muppet song.
The Muppet song. Which is like that's what it is.
Playing in
the
background of the scene. Oh no.
Okay, so Xena says that Caesar changed their fate giving them this godforsaken world.
This
Now-
godforsaken world.
Which is a huge
line.
line for what
'Cause
we really have.
It's interesting, I think, just for us, not to this will be a tangent.
Get ready.
We have kind of been talking about this, and Vera has been her problematic self about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where, what we've sort of seen of the world is just, what is godforsaken about it. Clearly for us as viewers is that Xena and Gabs don't know each other. They don't have the relationship that they have. That's, the worst thing. And then also that Caesar is just taking over the universe, which is bad.
Right.
I wish a little bit that the episode kind of showed you more of the unspooling of the Loom that we've been talking about, that you kind of do see towards the end, that things have gone really bananas. A lot of times with, I feel alternate reality episodes, you're kind of presented with a world that is so fucked up that you don't. It's very clear
this
that you
is
need
the darkest timeline.
the darkest timeline,
Yeah.
which is the episode of Community. There's a bunch of timelines in that one, and one of them is the darkest timeline.
Yes.
This clearly it doesn't feel to me like this is the darkest timeline, but it is for our main characters bad.
It is technically
but it's
not
also
as-
very bad for the world, I think, as well.
I think if you did have
but-
that wider perspective, you would see how bad for the world
It is bad for
Yeah.
the world, but it is not as bad for our people. Literally, then Remember Nothing. Remember Nothing was bad because Gabrielle was a slave.
That's true.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Here, Gabrielle lives a fine life as a
for
playwright.
our people that we like.
Yeah, our people are fine. Xena's comfortable as an empress. It is okay. But grand scheme, bad. Literally at this moment, Xena's gonna be crucified. Bad. But technically speaking,
yeah.
it's not as bad as Buffy and the Wish.
So
you know?
that's another big fan from around this time period genre. That is a go-to for this thing. Is
And
the
it must be
episode-
said, Buffy did it first.
Buffy did
Yeah,
do that first,
yeah.
but
other things did
Yeah.
alternate universes
This is,
before. Buffy.
again,
And Remember Nothing is before The Wish, as we
Of
pointed
course.
out.
Yes,
Of course.
yes. So Xena
So
did
Xena
it
did it
first.
first.
Xena did it first, Buffy did it second, Xena did it third.
May I again point out this is a big trope
Yes,
in
all
the
those other things did it
history
first.
of everything. So don't worry about it. It's in everything we've ever watched this genre.
Yeah.
But something like the Wish, where you're in that universe. If you've seen it, then you know what we're talking about. If you don't, it's this truly dystopian view of the world that Buffy lives in, where everything is truly a nightmare. Everything is bad, bad, bad.
The vampires have won.
Yeah, the vampires
And
take over.
You are this needs to be fixed. Obviously, this reality needs to be fixed too. You don't want Caesar taking over the universe, but I feel like one of the things with the episode is you don't really you have to think about it a lot. You don't really get
don't
anything
see it.
outside of Xena and Gabs, oh my god. This sucks.
They don't know each other. Oh no! Kill it!
Which is
The darkest timeline.
sort of what I think we were talking about too. If they had these other things that complicated it, if they did maybe have a family, or if Xena did have children, if Gabs did have if she did marry Perdiccas and had these and had kids and stuff, and what would that mean for
It would
her
be
to
more
fucking throw the
complicated.
thing in
Yeah.
the Loom when it's not this dystopian nightmare that we can see? It's interesting.
It is interesting.
That's all. Anyway, back to this.
Yeah,
There,
godforsaken world.
so it sucks. Everything is, Caesar's taken over. That's bad. They don't know each other. That's bad.
I like that Gabs, when she sort of told what's really going on, is immediately just how can I help? How can
I
I
know.
How
that
can
was
I
really
get you out of
sweet.
here?
Yeah.
Can't wait.
But Xena is don't worry about it. You get out.
She's can't let you die.
No, you get out.
She says she needs to go through this alone.
So such a
That is
Xena.
the Xena-ist line.
Is the Xena-est you could ever Xena.
Please put me on my cross. I must do this alone. No one can help me.
And then, kind of reiterates this, again,
Some
one of
more
the
gross
things,
lines.
the power of storytelling again. Isn't that what your play was about?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Xena has glommed on to Gabs's play as a
So there are
life
things
model.
worth
Yeah.
dying for. Yeah.
Which is funny because the play was Fallen Angel, so Xena has learned from Xena how to be Xena.
So she's...
Do you think they're
yeah.
like, okay, nah, let's save it?
Oh, boy.
I was just like sacrificing all for love, and like, what is that?
Right,
mean
for this specific timeline, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a jump, I think. But she really believes it. So
Well, I mean,
she wants that other
She
timeline.
saved Gabrielle from death.
Yeah.
And now she's being She's being executed for it. So in that sense, she's sacrificing herself for love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought it was more like the
It's such
overall...
part of the confusion here for me is just it's such an overreaction by Caesar that Xena like shoots kicks a few of the soldiers and now is being put to death. You know?
I mean, she wouldn't let it go, okay? She was
wouldn't let it
obsessed
go.
with Gabs.
Yeah.
And
In
also,
that
he
sense,
didn't want her to know.
She's sacrificing it for love. You know,
Yeah.
she's pursuing a forbidden love, and
Yeah.
and she pays the price for it. It's very Romeo and Juliet in that sense.
So there's some really good acting here. I mean, there's good acting, we already said, everywhere. But, like, specifically, I really love some line deliveries here. I love how Xena says being prepared to sacrifice all for love, and then Gabrielle echoes it for love.
Yes,
And then,
in the soft voice.
Yeah, of course. And then Xena says that in the other world, her destiny was linked to Caesar and that cross, which I just fucking love.
Cross.
She hates them both, but now she realizes that everything happened precisely as it should, and then she repeats precisely.
That's interesting.
This is
Xena
very interesting.
very into the idea of fate.
Well, fates collide.
Yeah, destiny.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is something that Katherine Fugate has talked about a lot as being kind of the original seed of this idea was, I think, something that philosophically she feels is true for her own life, which is that she's gone through some shit and that in the end she feels that stuff needed to happen to like make her who she is, that she lives with no regrets. And when she was just watching Xena, one thing that she felt about the show, she was like, you know, Xena has never like made peace with her past. Like she has never looked at it and been like, this was instrumental in creating me as I am today, and hence I need to forgive myself for it. So she says that was sort of why she wrote this episode, was for this moment, moment of Xena being like, everything happens precisely as it should. It's funny because I don't feel like that idea of Xena like forgiving herself for her, you know, evil warlord past is that crucial to the episode. I mean, you don't really see that idea. And I also wonder if, because the finale is coming up, this actually is an inconvenient moment to write an episode about Xena forgiving herself.
I truly agree.
Maybe not the time. They may have deliberately dialed back on whatever other content Katherine put in there.
And when that's interesting too, because like, I mean, this version of Xena has like the glimpses of other Xena, but what does it mean for her to forgive herself for any of that?
It's true.
I don't think she forgives herself here at all. No. Like, I feel like she's more saying, like, that's like the real shit, and
I want that.
And that's what it should be.
I need to make this real again. Yeah. She just knows that is the correct timeline. The idea that, you know, she lives this, as you say, Vera, a nice, kind of comfortable,
she does live a comfortable
existence.
100% her life is very comfortable.
And she rejects comfortable. Yeah. That's not what she was meant to have.
She misses that self-loathing.
She does.
Yeah. Well.
Gabs is like a very soft kind of back touch here in a wide shot.
So
that's good.
Gentle touching again.
Yes. And then the guards come and get Xena.
I love the intercutting of that. You see their boots like a little earlier in the scene, in the same way that in the previous prison scene you heard the hammering. So you always have that sense of their fate like hanging over them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
A lot of that is like in slow-mo too. There's so much slow-mo now. It's
oh my god.
Like all slow-mo.
Slow-mo explosion somewhere. Yeah. King Rick is like, you coming for me, John?
He's coming. See him from all that slow-mo. So the guards come in. Xena implores Gabs to leave.
Wait, but before that,
so much face touching.
Gabs is like, Xena, like whisper kind of thing, and Xena like moans.
Oh boy,
because she's like in pain. Oh, it's really good.
Oh no!
And she's like, "Go now, get out." Yeah.
She says, "I'll love you forever." Okay, so when the guards come in and they grab her, Gabs now says, "Don't touch her."
The face touching.
That's
Which
true.
is
The
a
face
mirror
touching. Wait, the
of
face
the earlier
touching.
Yes,
scene.
yeah, and the face touching. Yes,
Face touching.
Hair face.
I love you forever.
I love you forever.
that's a lot. So as Xena's like taken away, she instructs Kneel to get Gabs
her
out
out
of
alive,
Rome alive.
I'm
So-
impressed Gabs is even
allowed
alive
to be
to
there
begin with.
and just allowed
she
to
was
hang out.
I mean, I know that like Joxer Neil seems to have kind of been spiriting her around
Yeah.
in a way that keeps her out of Caesar's
How
kind
come
of
there's no
attention.
snitches other guards
Yeah,
being like,
it's
"Yo,
really-
Neil is like up to some no
He
good
keeps
shit here."
bringing this prisoner around. Like,
So Xena's let out outside. So now instead of snow in Ides of March, we have rain. Great choice.
So good.
The color.
the color is
Yeah, it's
similar.
like, well, the color, that one was blue. This is kind of like purple.
oh, I guess so. Okay,
It's
purple,
definitely
not
different.
blue.
Yeah, definitely different color, but still
But
a very
very
specific
linked.
color from the same color palette.
But just everything's just mud now.
So here's where
Mud everywhere.
I had a pin in here about Xena's leg wound, which has been forgotten, unfortunately, about, because I would have really loved. So she got, well, I don't know why she got shot in the leg if they weren't going to use it, but I really wanted her to be like limping to mirror her and
And like
able to.
Ides, they
Yeah, she was unable
And
to
she's
walk.
dragged in
So like I
Ides,
really
yeah.
needed that to be somehow mirrored where she has like a problem walking to her to the
However-
cross.
However,
Yes.
Lucy walking up to this cross in this rain and this mud in this makeup is 100% the most badass Xena has ever looked. I think the face she is making, and you know it partly is really fueled by Lucy being like, I fucking hate this.
Oh yeah. They got the rain machine on and the cross.
Like her two favorite
favorite things. I bet
being
it's
wet
cold.
and
I
crucified.
bet it's cold. Yep.
It's so good. Like you can tell it's coming from a deep well of like just
Not
badness.
again.
It's so good. She's making an amazing face.
Yeah.
So good.
So watching this under this like tent is Caesar and Alti.
I love the detail of the tent
Yes.
that Alti and Caesar want to be there, want to bear witness, but
But
like,
it's raining,
do
so they have
not
a
want to
tent,
get
yeah.
wet.
Yeah. So as she's being led out, you have some intercutting, like you have her being put on the cross. Then you have Alti whispering to Caesar, "Are you DTF?" You know,
And
down
kissing
to fuck.
him and like clearly deliberately doing this in front of Xena,
Yeah.
where Xena can see that you
Yeah.
know this relationship is now happening in public, like as she is being executed. It's kind of the ultimate fuck you.
So when Xena's put on the cross, there's some really great details of like when they go to put the nails in her hands. Like I love the guy who steps on her forearm.
Oh.
Like we hadn't seen that before, I think.
I also
So-
like the cuts to Neil Joxer, who's now watching, and it reminded
Yeah.
me of how good Ted was in. Maybe I can't remember if it's Ides. I think it's actually Fallen Angel,
yeah.
where you see him mourning them.
Right,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
time you see kind of like the dramatic chops of
Yeah.
Ted
Yeah.
Raimi.
So then you have a shot of Gabs riding off. She's also in the rain, so it's like she's leaving Rome.
And you're like, what? She's just peacing out.
She's
what?
leaving. Well, I mean, she was told to
She was
leave,
told to.
so she's
She
doing
was,
it.
yep.
Meanwhile, Alti's doing some writing of her own.
Oh,
yeah. She's on top of Caesar. This is insanely
Do we love that
steamy.
Caesar's always a bottom? Like always.
Of course he would be.
Yeah.
I thought this was insane that they got away with this. Like, it's true. It's truly like a lot for this show that has
Too sexy.
Yeah. This show has stooge stuff. Like, how do they have like a lady riding a dude?
Pretty amazing.
Wow.
And then penetrating him.
Yeah, suddenly there's a knife, and this is bad because I think Caesar is gonna get that same fate.
Yep. Can't escape.
I mean, I love that, yeah, if Caesar puts Xena on a cross, this happens to him
Yeah.
at the same moment. It's
Always at the same
those
moment.
those two decisions are linked. That will
Yes,
happen. That will
yes.
inevitably happen.
Yeah. I also like, so the whole idea that this is happening to him because he was just like seduced by Alti, which is his like thing that he did, his big line from Destiny about like seducing ladies, or like what is it again? It's like separating a woman from her. Like the sensibilities and like something else. So I feel like Alti has done that
to him.
Yeah.
She seduces and destroys him. Yeah, kind of the ultimate. In a way, it's much
the ultimate.
The ultimate.
The ultimate.
It's even more satisfying than him being betrayed by Brutus. Because you feel this is his own hubris that he thought. You know, he clearly didn't take Alti seriously as a threat, and she is easily able to do the exact same thing he did to Xena. To him.
She's like a crazy bitch.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So and I love, of course, that they bring back the same editing technique that they used. We talked about that as The Godfather, I believe, was like our film reference there. But just the fact that, that you link Caesar and Xena, and with every nail that goes into Xena, it's
Caesar reacting to a stab wound and vice versa. Which is something that Robert Field said that he did again. So,
and I think it rises to about the same level as Ides. I think it's impressive
does.
They were able to repeat the sort of grand climax of the entire show, which was Ides of March. They do it again, and it still works.
It really works. There's a lot of like slow-mo, like sexy veil curtain around the bed, you know, with the knife.
They do a lot of good
raised.
curtain stuff.
I just really love, so previously, you know, when he was stabbed in the Senate, like he was wearing his robe, but here he has like a bare chest. So like I like the wounds on the bare flesh, a lot of blood.
Right, that final wide shot where you just sort of see him and he looks so pathetic.
Carl Urban continues to make a decision that is just mind-boggling, which is that whenever he dies as Caesar, he crosses his eyes. Yeah. Like, I don't know why he chooses to do it again here.
It's a little goofy, and that's odd. So like Caesar.
But that happened, yeah. So
I believe Robert Field said something interesting, which is that one difference that he felt in the two pieces of editing, the climax of Ides versus the climax here, is that he actually wanted to like make this one more lyrical. There's way more slow-mo, and he thought that the rain and the cloth would make it more dreamlike. And he wanted to make Xena's pain less visceral.
Which is crazy because it is literally more visceral.
Yeah.
You have shots of her screaming. Like, you don't see that before. In slow-mo, screaming. Like,
he was hoping it would kind of dial it down because he would take it to this dream place.
Up.
He dialed it up. And I love it. I fucking love it. It's beautiful. So Gabs arrives at her destination, and it is the Temple of the Fates.
Where you can just waltz right in.
Also, that temple is nearby because it's still raining there. So
Rome.
It's in the same sort of vicinity as Rome.
Makes sense.
Don't question
it's fine. We're entering the land of emotional logic and not actual logic, so just... Don't worry about it.
This is her walking into this temple is intercut with Xena's cross being lifted and put into place.
Yep.
So
just like that shot from Destiny.
Right, yeah. But I mean, like, this is intercut. So, like, first you have the guys kind of, like, coming and, you know, getting their hands under it. Then it's, like, Gab stuff. Then it's, like, the guys are lifting it, Gab stuff, etc. So I'll talk back a little bit more about the cross later. So the Loom is not in good shape.
No.
Like, it is just... VHSs are just
right.
like, all over.
It really
like,
looks like you just tore
it out.
Tape.
They're just, like, laying there.
So clearly, this is the kind of stuff I wish they had the budge to show. Like the whole, everything has gone mad.
Yeah.
Like according to this imagery of this Loom.
Yeah, I would have loved like multiple like screens playing crazy.
Yeah.
Clips,
Oh my god, what's
that? How could that be right?
Yeah. And then you wash your hands in the clip.
Gabs just has a really good like reaction to it. She just goes, "It's horrible."
She's so pissed. Like just banging open the door, marching down the torch. Like I'm pissed.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, like, the Fates are like, hi.
We're tied up.
We're still tied up over here.
Help.
And she does not help them at all.
She is so mad at them. I love it.
But
I love
why
that she
can't
rages at the gods?
They're a victim here.
She does not see it that way.
They could easily put everything back, technically speaking, but she just decides to act on her own.
Well, it's a metaphor for, like, human choice.
I feel bad for them.
Free will, baby.
So they're like, we couldn't do our jobs because Caesar has chained us, over here, and the world is full of chaos and confusion. And she's like, we're stuck in this world because of you? Well, technically it's because of Caesar, but
Right.
whatever.
Rude.
Here's where Xena's cross is slid into place, and it is one of my favorite shots of the whole show, I think, because I love
The mud?
the puddle, because it's raining, so there's like a puddle in the groove or whatever, the hole they're supposed to go into. So when it slides in and it's in slow-mo, it has this beautiful, like, swish.
It's very gross.
It's
feels
just a cool
violent.
detail.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have anything like that in Ides of March,
It's true.
It was really
They
cool.
found a new visual detail.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like a little just observation, which I feel like is fairly like straightforward if you're just watching it. But this article, I think I probably referenced it a long time ago, but I was kind of looking at it again because of the imagery. It's called Xena on the Cross by a woman named Kathleen Kennedy, not Star Wars Kathleen Kennedy, which I've definitely said before. But like just kind of made this observation of like the mud imagery being like just this cool way of thinking about like that world being like just collapsing into like muddy,
like a landslide,
like just like bleh. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is
Right.
cool.
Like just the
It's
imagery.
like the tape. The tape.
Yeah.
The loom is collapsing. The mud is collapsing.
Yeah.
The dream is collapsing. Alti comes out. So when Xena's cross is put into place, Alti comes out, and what does she do? She does her thing.
The only thing she could possibly do in this context, she cackles
Cackles at Xena.
and stares at her and makes it clear, that's right, it's just me now. I killed Caesar.
Yeah.
I'm the new Caesar. Bye, bitch.
Gabs decides that, you know what, she's going to burn this fucker down.
Which is amazing.
It's so good.
It's like, I mean, and this is this interesting version of Gabrielle. It's a Gabrielle who is, mostly of this world, but has memories of being the other Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Decides to blow up the actual world.
Right. So this is where it would have been weird if she had children.
Well, it's weird anyway.
I mean,
even for, like, the character of Gabrielle, you would might think about it a little bit. Like, just the idea. And, like, maybe... So part of the dialogue is that the Fates are like, boo, you destroy everything. I don't...
Yeah.
The exact thing.
yeah,
but she's
I think
like...
destroy everything.
And then what does she say? She says...
Your loom destroyed
sucks.
what was meant to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think she is operating with, like, a confidence that it is not... That, like, this is going to help and not, like, perhaps destroy the entirety of the universe. But
I think
she
so.
doesn't know that.
She doesn't. It's an act of
Act of
faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that like I was reading fan reaction, and a lot of people have a problem kind of with her actions here.
Well,
that they feel this is just too destructive, and that she couldn't have known.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's important to think about, because I think that, like, the Gabrielle that we know, like, when you're not operating as a viewer who's watching an episode where
It has
that
to be
is
fixed.
not correct. Like, they're
Yeah.
in an alternate reality and they're going to have to fix it. Like, this is a huge, sweeping, like, romantic gesture that is really fun. But I think it is important to think about, like, the idea of Gabrielle, like, blowing up the universe just basically because it's, like, not the way it should be, and mostly because of her relationship with Xena.
Right.
Because she is, like, 100% about the greater good. Is this the greater good in this moment? But I think that it is, I wish that we had seen more of everything descending into chaos.
Right, yeah.
Because I think that would have helped with the idea of her doing this last resort drastic action to make everything right. Because without having seen it, you're left going like, yes, it is a godforsaken world and everything is shit. Clearly we relate the most to Xena and Gabs, and, like, we want them together and we want them to be themselves. But I think that having a bigger picture of everything being madness would make it be, like, totally fine for her to do this action. I think as is, it's a little tricky to be like, holy shit, that was a big thing she did. Whoa, that's like a little bit out of character, but no, like, sure.
I guess
It
for
feels
me,
right
yeah.
that's the emotional logic
Yeah.
thing. Like, it feels right with the episode.
Maybe it's just my own kind of like blasphemous tendencies, but like when the fates yell at her like you're gonna destroy everything, like when I first saw this episode I just didn't believe them. Like I sort of was just team Gabs here. I was like, don't listen to those gods, they don't know what they're talking about. They let this happen, you follow your heart, girl. You can see the way
How
out
they
of this.
let it happen?
Yeah, don't
They're
you
tired.
dare believe women.
They let Julius
Believe women.
They let Julius Caesar sneak into their little house and shade them all
overpowered
up.
them.
There are 3 of them.
They are victims.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree with you that like you need to pause and you need to think about this in this wider context of she is literally destroying the world for love, and obviously just such a romantic idea that in a way that like for me kind of overwhelms my ability to logic it. I'm just like, she is destroying the world because she knows this is the right thing to do.
Right.
And yeah, it's one of the few places in the show where I feel like the greater good is her love for Xena.
And doing this
Yeah.
is going to, yes.
They're the same thing in this episode,
Yes.
and I think that's part of what makes it so successful. Yeah.
Yes, that's the thing. That's the thing. And so she does it.
She does
Yeah,
it.
she takes the
it.
torch, throws it, and it causes some special effects to happen.
It really does. There's some like little like Raiders of the Lost Ark like things flying around. I don't even know what they are.
Like based on the show, I was like, I was like, oh, are they spirits?
It keeps
They
going
look
back to
that.
like Xena too, like on the
Right.
cross.
She
Yeah.
sees
as everything.
Alti just exploding.
Yeah, so Alti starts.
Don't forget that she's like, I love you, Gabrielle.
Well, not yet, but
Yeah, well, don't forget.
I will not forget. I will never forget. So this like burning the loom causes Alti to become like an X-ray Skeletor, and like
Because you can't get past the bones.
no,
It always comes back.
The fate of
Bag of
Alti
bones,
is
Alti.
always to be a bag of bones. Yeah. So she kind of like combusts, but like, of course, Xena has to see this and then like smirk, and I think that's stupid.
I like the smirk.
There's no need for that. Like, this is like a little, like, she doesn't need to be like, ha, ha, ha. Like, come on. It's
like it.
fine. She's on a cross.
Let her have this.
She doesn't need
It's in
it.
the
She's
same
better
way-
than that.
Remember at the end of Ides of March, like they triumph at the end despite being crucified.
Didn't I hate that too? I bet I did. I don't remember. I haven't re-listened, but I bet I hated it.
Xena on the cross always triumphs.
Her triumph was choosing to be on the cross. Like, that was her triumph.
That's
It was
true.
her
She was a
decision.
triumph. Yeah,
Like,
this is a little different from
this
other
is just-
crucifixions.
she doesn't
in
need
that
to do
she
that.
won from the beginning.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever, she sees her. And then the camera kind of like, okay, so then the camera does this cool crane down, like to be like a low angle underneath Xena looking up. And I thought it was really cool that it's still raining, but I don't know if this was an intentional or just because like they filmed it and they have the sky, but the sky's like blue. Like it's not,
Definitely not raining.
So it's like one of those maybe like rains where the sun comes out. So like immediately is like hopeful, AKA.
That's good.
So that was an interesting like little moment, and that's where she says, "I love you, Gabrielle."
Beautiful.
And the loom explodes, and not only that, but the world explodes, and
Yeah,
the
the whole
universe
thing.
explodes, and it's like, holy shit,
Blam.
what? Wow. But then everything is fine. We're back.
in the
We're
woods.
back, reset to our regular
We
world.
got Gabs in the woods.
I love the
foggy.
whole way this is shot.
Yeah.
It's very dreamlike. You're very much like in Gabs's perspective.
And she's kind of confused. She's like, what's going on?
Yeah, she's
Just
looking
wandering around.
looking around at this wood, sort of being like there's something a little eerie about it, and something eerie about her face. She has this
Yeah.
just sort of very blank expression.
You'd be confused too. Or
Yeah.
as we will come to find out, as Xena rides up and she's like, hey.
She's on Argo.
Argo 2.
Argo 2. She's
And-
got her regular warrior princess costume, which, having not seen it for an entire episode, it is very powerful. Suddenly see her the way she's meant to be.
So Gab's like, hi, back to Xena, and you would think that they would not know what was going on this whole episode, but that's not true. They know everything.
Yeah, Xena says, you brought the world back to us.
I like this one better.
Even though you're not a famous playwright?
Fame. Ha! Who needs it?
Weird, like the lines are strange.
Yeah, seems to be controversial both among the fan base, and I feel like the actors themselves have spoken about this scene.
They're like, we needed to end this episode. Quick.
Well, did they themselves have an issue with them remembering?
I don't know if they have an issue. I think their issue is just John Fawcett wanted them to deliver the lines this way. He didn't want like a lot of like emotion or humor or anything. Yeah. He wanted this kind of deadened, numb quality.
Like they'd just been through some shit.
Yeah, I mean, I like that notion.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I think it works. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I know you, Vera, have a problem with them remembering everything. You feel like that's a little goofy at the end of this episode.
I don't think they need to do that.
But like, I like that feeling that in the end it's this sort of like shell shock. You know, like you can't have them like getting really emotional again because they just did that in the little pocket universe we've seen.
Right.
I would have just loved
it's so much for them to remember. Just they remember everything, I think. Like
an
about
entire
having
other
that
life.
experience.
Yeah.
And it is again just one of those things where they're like reminded of very intensely of their connection to each other like that. Like I don't know how he's supposed to react. I feel like this I think it's a good choice to kind of just be like
they play it cool.
Yeah.
I think there's too many lines, but they could have just cut it.
Okay, that's fair.
Honestly, with hey, hi, like that would have been great and ambiguous.
That's
like,
weird.
do they remember or don't they?
That's weird,
kind of
dude, to just end with hey, hi.
Yeah, and that's it. I do love that. So Xena helps Gabs up on the back of the horse, which is like...
And I love, this is such a classic image we don't often get in this late stage of the show, which is both Xena and Gabs riding Argo together.
Yeah, but also like it mirrors the original, like when she first lifted her on. Although...
Which we've seen in the clip show.
Lucy does this thing with her tongue that kind of like ruins it if you want to put it in vids.
the first one too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh no, okay, cut it off before.
Realistic.
It's realistic.
Yeah,
no,
it takes effort.
It's a very Xena thing to do. So she's lifted on the horse and they start riding away and...
or maybe she didn't.
Xena, Gabs asks if Xena really liked the play.
It was alright.
Yeah. Could have used a few more fight scenes.
This mirrors what Joxer Neil said.
Yeah, so which makes me go, I can't believe Xena and Joxer have the same mentality, that fucking stooge mentality.
They both do, they do.
I hate this. And then Gabs goes, everyone's a critic. Like critic is from Varietas.
Oh yeah, the fight scenes thing. Apparently, some kind of Rob Tappert.
Of course, it would be Stooge fan.
He's always asking for more fight scenes, so it's a salute to Rob.
And they ride off into the mist.
Yes, they ride off into the mist.
I think it's a very haunting final scene. I quite like it.
I do too.
Yeah. I like
it
the
has
performance.
the same feel to me a little bit as the end of Fallen Angel.
Right.
Where they're like, we're going to be together forever.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird because it's a big concept for the show. Like, and I know that there's a lot of arguments that some people do have where they like don't like a lot of the stuff with like destiny and fate and them being kind of trapped in this cosmic land. Right, that it feels like
predestination, no free will.
Right. So I kind of like that when you have these two characters who really actually know that they're in it, like there's no like doubt about it, they've seen it and experienced it. I think that is a interesting, like I feel like that is a kind of interesting way to react to it.
I have had issues in the past with feeling like a little bit trapped by these concepts, and like I felt like it erased the hard work that Xena and Gabs have both put into this relationship, like to make it work. But I feel like this episode for me really works because it's such hard work.
Yeah.
They have to fight to get back to each other. They have to literally destroy the world to like make things right again.
Yeah.
I feel like this feels like free will despite everything. It feels like Caesar tried to make their fates different and like they looked at that new version kind of Caesar made himself God basically of that little mini world and they killed God. They fought against that.
And the grand gesture of blowing up the Loom, symbolic.
I mean, that was entirely free will.
I feel like this is actually, despite seemingly being about like what happened with Xena's line, you know, it had to happen precisely as it happened. It's actually an argument for free will.
Right.
It's their choice to like make the canon of Xena Warrior Princess remain the canon of Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, that was that episode.
Yeah.
We did it.
Do we agree that it's fourth best
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever?
For me, I could
Yeah.
watch it 100 times.
I mean, you just did. You literally just watched it 100
I
times.
I mean, I'm not sure if like my top 10 would exactly mirror Woosh's top 10, but I think it's a great episode. And I do, like I said, I think it's at this point in a series life, people are running out of steam. You know, most of the great ideas have already been thought of.
Yeah.
So to come up with something that feels new and fresh, even while feeling like so engaged with stuff that's happened before. You know, in many ways, this is like a remix of Ides of March, but it makes that remix feel like new and exciting. And I think that's really cool.
The best part of a remix.
Hey, exactly. So yeah, I would be on my top 10 for sure.
Same.
Me too.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about before we sign off? We covered our schedule.
Yeah, sketch.
We covered how much we like this episode.
Yeah.
I guess
We did it.
I guess that's it.
We did when Fates Collide.
We did.
No.
This is sort of like our last big thing until the final big
I guess
thing.
so. And I feel like with it being like number 4 on Woosh, I find it sad that it's kind of like the last universally quote unquote loved. I mean, I'm sure there are people who don't like it, whatever. But like, you know, a big episode of people.
I have to say,
love.
I was surprised. Like, I was trying to like go through fan reaction, and like it was not as overwhelmingly beloved. At least from
tempered reaction.
Like people tend to like it, but have all these logic issues with it, or just like.
Well, that's. That's one of the things I was trying to say with like the alternate reality stuff. It's like you gotta kind of backseat it. Like, who cares?
A lot of people said they didn't like Alti and Caesar, like that pairing in the episode, that they just wanted one or the other, which I disagree with. I think this is one of the rare examples of a villain team up, like really working. Like, I really dug it. They both get about equal screen time. They're both fun. They're fulfilling like different needs in the narrative, and they're
and they're still like they remain their own characters.
Yeah,
it's like
and they're both
so
pretty
good.
smart.
Yeah,
so that I feel like that's very hard
good.
to execute, and it's great.
It has no long cons by Xena.
No long cons, thank God.
So good.
Well, yeah. So it's a little. It was a little surprising to me that this isn't like kind of among at least the fans I was reading like as beloved.
However,
as I
it
thought.
did get voted to
number
4.
So clearly, like those are outliers. Yeah.
All right, then. Happy Pride and follow us on all the stuff and things.
Yay! We're on the internet. XenaWarriorPodcast.com. You can go there to find everything you could ever possibly desire. You can listen to episodes. You can find links to all the social medias. So what is all this stuff where you go? You go to Apple Podcasts. That's one. You can subscribe to the podcast there and rate and leave reviews, which we love to read. We are on all of the things that you spend your time on scrolling around, like Twitter at Xena Warrior Pod, and Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr, Xena Warrior Podcast. I have to update the Tumblr. I said that last time. Oh my God, help
And you
me.
still haven't done it.
Oh no, help! But yeah, that's all the stuff. So
did you say Patreon?
A little bit. Oh, Patreon. We are on there. Patreon.com/Xena Warrior Podcast. You can find episodes of the Lucy Lawless IMDb Experience. So have just been updated recently, and more things going forward. Look out for stuff there, and we will return with what's it called?
Many happy returns.
Many happy returns in August. Happy July. Have a good 4th.
Yeah.
Enjoy your summer.
Yeah.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast.